The Mona Lisa's TikToks thing. Hi, I'm good. Funny story. I
Hey, what's up? I entered the live. Everybody start donating. Let's get some dubs in the chat. What's up, host?
How's it going?
Going good. Toxic masculinity, patriarchy exists. Maybe. I wouldn't doubt it. LGBTQ rights, yes, I support it. Abortion should be legal. Depends. Comprehensive? No, that's too young. Got to be like from, I think, maybe eight to 12, maybe high school. High school would probably be perfect. Band churches not. I mean, churches they're kind of a problem. So yeah, maybe not really. They should still have their right to have a church. Yeah, it's just I agree with the last one.
So comprehensive sex ed shows to be very effective in a scaffolding approach, which means that we start with age-appropriate content in kindergarten and build upon that as the child gets older.
What would that be though? What's age appropriate to teach a toddler or a 5-year old about sex?
It's not specifically about sex in terms of intercourse. It would be essentially around the dynamics of interpersonal relationships as well as bodily autonomy. So that would be like family circles, friend circles, what is safe touch, what is unsafe touch, hygiene. Let's see here, stuff like that.
Now the safe touch and the no zone stuff I agree with, but I don't understand how that would be implemented for little kids, even kids that are like 8 years old. Because I
So
don't think I
it's
think
essentially designed to for child sex abuse prevention.
okay, now the sex abuse I understand, but when you say sex ed, I'm thinking about practicing safe sex or smashing and stuff, not just awareness.
No, comprehensive sex education would be child abuse, sex prevention, appreciation of sexual diversity, healthy relationships, dating and intimate partner violence, understanding of gender.
Okay. I thought it was like when I was going to school, when I was in high school, we did sex ed and they were talking about, diseases and being safe and how to smash and all that.
Really? They taught you how to smash?
How to put on a condom and all that. Teacher pulled out a banana.
Damn.
Yeah. That's
But
that's what I think about when it comes to sex ed, not anything, I guess, comprehensive. So, yeah, I don't know. It all depends. You feel me? But I feel like they shouldn't be learning about that. If it's about touching and against abuse, then that's one thing. But like so much as like smashing, nah.
I don't know why you automatically assumed that that's what
Because it
was on.
says sex ed.
Yeah.
That's what
Sex
sex
may
ed
not
is.
sex just doesn't mean it's
It's
like
sexual education.
intercourse.
Yes, it does. I
No, it
mean,
doesn't. Doesn't it?
well, if
Aren't
you want to be
aren't
technical,
you also a male?
if you want to be technical, if you want to be technical,
Are you a
then yeah.
male?
Hold on. Let me finish because you was talking about sex. Yes, sex
Wait,
can
I'm
mean.
trying to give you an example. Are you a male?
But hold on, I'm trying to tell you because what I'm saying. The thing about it is, you said it doesn't mean just that, but it does because when I went to sex ed, that's what they talked about. It wasn't about all that. What you were saying.
Great. Are you a male?
Yeah, of
Is
course.
that your sex? Is that your sex?
Yes.
So sex doesn't just mean intercourse.
I mean, if you want to be like technical about it, then that's one thing. But when we talk about sex ed, it's not talking about just gender. You know what I'm saying? Like you talking about smashing and all that.
Well,
Friend,
now that
did
I've
you?
cleared it up for you, do you understand the importance?
Yeah, if it's about being against abuse, but anything outside of that, it shouldn't be. You know,
Well, it's also about healthy relationships.
healthy as in how would it be implemented?
Again, essentially friend circles, family circles, what different families look like, what different friends look like. Then when it comes to sixth through eighth grade, that's typically when like the ideas of gender and sexuality come into play. So it would be,
So what grade would that be?
I just said, sixth through eighth.
Okay, 6 through 8 would be okay, and before then would be about communication or connections.
What?
That's what I was saying. What was you said before that? It would be about connections or circles
Healthy relationships?
or healthy relationships, but that has nothing to do with sex, really.
It does in terms of like people's personal space, understanding that you can't like be forced to give hugs, understanding that you can't force people to do this, like respecting your friends' boundaries, understanding personal boundaries. Yeah,
Or if they're
absolutely.
teaching them like about like sexual harassment and stuff.
I mean, if you want to
It would be
equate it to
framed as
that,
I
sexual
mean, basically,
harassment.
it's sexual. I mean, we should raise our kids not to sexual harass people. You know, this is a hot topic, but
respect their respect people's personal boundaries and personal space, friend.
yeah, and if you violate that, that's sexual harassment.
I mean, essentially, yes, but that's not how you would describe it to children, though.
You know, you wouldn't. That's why it shouldn't really be, in a discussion. But I mean, it has to be done if they have to learn about it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna grow up. You
It
feel me?
absolutely should be. Like children should be empowered to know that they have autonomy over their body, and if there's something that they don't want to do, they don't have to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. But long as it's not about anything crazy, because I feel like high school would be the perfect way, for that because most people are you typically sexually active during high school. You know, I was when I was, and a lot of almost like I'll say like 80% was at
What?
my school.
How can you substantiate that claim, friend? You're just saying that.
I mean, I can just say it, but it's through my experiences. I can't like pull
So
up,
you did
hard.
a poll, like you walked around and asked everybody in the school if
No,
they were
no,
smashing or not.
mainly the people I hung around, all my
Oh, okay.
peers.
But
Yeah,
I'm sure you didn't hang out with 80% of the school population, though.
80% of the people that I came in contact with,
So you and
they
your three
said that they were
friends.
smashing. I don't know if they can substantiate their claim that they smashed, but they told me they did.
So you and your three friends.
No, I ain't have 3 friends, bro. I had a lot of friends in high school, bro. Come on,
Oh, okay.
don't do that.
You were the popular guy, huh?
I wouldn't say
And that's his
popular.
point. That's his point is that you're just saying an anecdote because you don't really know the statistics.
Exactly.
I didn't do. I don't have to do a poll. I'm going off based off my experience, the people that I came in contact with.
You realize that
Yeah,
your
that's your opinion.
lens can be biased and that you didn't actually perform any
Yeah, but
objective
this is
data
what
collecting.
this is a statement. It's not for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that this
Right?
is
It's a
something that we
claim.
can debate. It's a statement. You feel me? That's how I felt. That's why I said in my experience, you may experience something different.
Yeah, it's anecdotal. There's 380 some odd million people in the United
Yeah,
States, so
exactly. But a lot of
you
I will.
can't base your debate on
So we'll
your
have to pull
personal
out the
experience.
statistics. When do people lose their virginity? We'll have to look at that then. When people are start to be sexually active, and I'm pretty sure it's when they're younger. You feel me? Not like super young, but like 17, maybe 16.
The
We
study
can,
shows that the best approach to sex education when it comes to preparing children for intercourse would be around puberty,
yeah, around puberty. So what age group would that be?
sixth to eighth grade.
6th to 8th grade?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like high school, bro. Because I
That
mean,
your
middle school.
feelings don't negate the facts.
Yeah.
It does though. Everybody's going
What?
off of their feelings. They feel like, oh, someone feels like, oh, 6 to 8 or whatever, but I may feel
Yeah.
like 9 to 12.
That is the majority of
Everything's
time that girls go through puberty. I got my period in seventh grade.
yeah, I know, but you wasn't smashing in 7th grade. You feel me?
How do you know?
You have the discussions prior to when people typically start engaging in intercourse so that they have the information.
I understand that, but I'm saying that most people that get,
Bro, are you
you know,
just
what I'm
saying
saying.
things just to say things at this point? I
I'm
feel like
not
that's what
saying
this
things
is.
just to say things. I'm just saying, you feel me? Like this ain't for y'all. This for the viewers. It's not for y'all.
Right.
It's for the views. They watching. They ain't complaining. It's entertainment. This show business, baby. So you want to have a debate? We're gonna debate.
No, you're not
It ain't
debating though.
about
See, a
y'all.
debate means that you actually have
Yeah,
prepared
but you gotta
facts.
understand this
No,
debate
no,
is
I
not
don't have to
about
understand
you. It's
anything.
about the
No, I don't have to understand
viewers.
anything.
They're the ones that's watching, and for the host to benefit. That's what this whole thing is about. It's not about you and how you feel and your
No, that's
arguments.
what I'm trying to tell you. It's not about you and how you feel.
Okay, so talk to yourself. You feel the same way.
No, no, I use facts to substantiate
Okay,
the
all
things that
right.
I
No,
say.
see, you're making it about yourself, bro. This live is not about you, bro. So just chill out, enjoy the show, let the viewers watch. You feel me?
Yeah, I hate ignorance, man, especially when it's
I
coming
don't
out of
know
the mouth of
why.
black
It's
people.
not ignorance, bro. This is entertainment. This is show business. People are passing their
But
time. You
these
wasting their
aren't
time trying to make it
jokes.
about
Like these
you,
topics aren't jokes.
bro. I'm not saying they're jokes.
So
You're the
it's
one that's
not for
making that assumption.
entertainment.
Did I say
You're
that,
weird, bro.
bro? This
Like
is
talking
not
about
this.
children's sexuality is entertaining to you?
No. That's your interpretation. You're using your own
No,
discretion
that's
to
what
come
you
with that point.
said.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That's what you're saying. I did not say that. Not one time. You're putting words in my mouth, sir. I'm saying
That's
that the
literally
whole
what you
purpose
said.
of this debate is for business, bro.
No, it's
So stop
not.
making it
It's
about
for
you, bro.
education, you
This does
weirdo.
not okay, but us sitting here debating is not going to benefit any of these situations. We're just sitting here talking to each other,
No, some of these
passing the
people in
time.
the
So
comments could
stop
actually
it.
be
You do
learning
not make
things.
your words have no impact. Your words have no impact. Okay, so relax, dude.
I mean, you're kind of calling
Come
the.
on,
I
it's
mean,
Friday.
that's his whole point is that
It's,
your words aren't having any
it's
impact. That
Friday.
we do actually want to
None of ours are.
engage.
None of
No,
us are.
these do. They absolutely do for the viewers.
You feel me? But the
No,
viewers already know what they're looking for.
they're actually looking for intellectual dialogue. Would you like to participate in that, or do you want to go to
Yeah.
Hollywood?
Hey, I must be doing something intellectual. I just got a motherfucking coin. You feel me?
Oh, you just got a coin? Wow, you're almost at a penny.
Yeah. Hey, yes, sir. You feel me? So somebody agrees. You know what I'm saying? This stuff's supposed to be. We should be able to have fun with this. We shouldn't be at each other's neck.
Well, now that you got your penny and your coin, I think you can quit. Hello, welcome.
Yo, the uneducated nonsense is irritating. It really is. My
It
goodness.
is. I feel like his whole statement is I thought you meant I thought you were talking about smashing. Like that was it. This is peach mango crystal light.
So pretty much water. I'm uneducated. Oh, yeah, you got me. You got me, buddy.
Funny story though. These are really good gluten-free chips. These are corn ones. And I was
Hmm.
getting the rice ones, but I've been checking like serving sizes. And with the rice ones, it said I could have like 18, which is a good amount for crackers. This one said I could have 38, so I'm like, oh my God, how exciting. So I bought these. They're literally half the size of the other chips. And I'm like, you guys fucking played me.
Yeah. Hey, so instead of, what I'm saying, like, trying to ad hom me from the comments, you could hop in the box and then say whatever you want. We can find out who the uneducated person actually is. That's a
Ooh,
novel idea. That's
oh,
novel.
yum.
Novel idea. Yes, oh my God, gluten free, for people who have allergies, you know what I'm saying, to wheat
I just typically buy gluten-free because they typically have less calories.
and less carbohydrates.
Exactly. Toxic femininity and toxic masculinity aren't like dichotomies of each other. Like, sure, I could say toxic femininity exists, but that would just be internalized misogyny. Like, it's not what you think it is.
Right. And like I said, you have to have like literally very very little um, education very little things to do with your life. You know what I'm saying? Like to just sit around and harass people from a comment section. Like I can imagine. Like I said, I'm gonna do this one day, and I'm gonna film it. I'm just gonna go into random places like Walmart. I'm just gonna go into Walmart and be like, I wish they'd bring Kmart back, and then I'm just gonna walk out. And then I'm gonna go to to CVS and be like, I prefer Walgreens, and then leave. And I'm gonna go to Taco Bell and I'm like, where are the Big Macs? And then walk out. Because I mean, like I feel like that's what y'all do. Like that is really weird behavior. It's odd behavior. It's odd behavior. I'm
Well,
gonna go to my
last
next door neighbor's
time
house and be like, I wish your house looked like mine, and then leave.
the the last time that I was in Kmart, it was like the most depressing place on earth. It was the opposite of Disney.
I'm gonna go to Target. Like, where's the blue light special? Like, it's just weird, man. It's super weird. Systemic racism doesn't exist. Okay, thank you for playing. So, hey guys, we can call it all off because user number 163582974 says systemic racism doesn't exist. So we can all go home now.
Yeah, they had a 750 followers, so you're close. You're almost
Right.
TikTok worthy.
We can all go home now, guys. It doesn't exist.
There is a lot of tripping in the comments. I was surprised when I restarted how like quickly the live viewers went up.
Right. It's just weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you really believe the things that you say, it wouldn't be that hard. Like if I were to go into a space with people I don't agree with, which I do quite frequently, right? And I didn't agree with what was on the board, then there's this little button down there. It says multi-guest. And I click it, right? And then I tell them why I don't agree. And I don't care if there's one person in there or eight people in there that don't agree with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I can hold my own in those spaces. So I just don't understand why, when we're debating human rights and human existence and the difference between right and wrong, and they feel like their view is the moral high ground, so to speak. Why they can't ever verbalize it in words? It has to be like what I'm saying, 30 characters in a message that most of the times we're not even reading. Like 90% of the time, we don't even see your comment.
Yeah,
You just
especially when they're going by that fast.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just thumbing away so you can just get your little angry comment out. I don't like potato chips. Okay, got it. Thanks.
Potato chips are based.
Right.
I will say like the one thing that can be hard with dieting is my kids' snacks, and like I actually don't buy them chips anymore because I was just eating them all.
I feel you on that. Yeah, there you go. All chips matter.
You ask for a society without police and peace, without judgment, yet you go against everything there. That doesn't even make sense.
That's what I'm saying. It just word salad most of the time.
Why ban churches? Because they
You
abuse
have enough
children.
followers. Come up here and talk about it. More masculinity is never a bad thing.
What is masculinity, Chad? I think it's more than 82 followers. Feminism is
Oh, did you
misogyny and
hear?
patriarchy.
I don't know that this is a reliable source, and I really couldn't find, what I'm saying, many other sources to back it up. But I did see that there potentially Tate has lung cancer. And if he stays in, untreated in the prison, there's a good chance he won't make it. But I don't know.
His manager, I think they said his talent manager confirmed that.
Oh, really?
Um, oh, his
Are they trying to use that
Tate's manager confirms reports that he has lung cancer.
are they
But I
trying to
also,
appeal? Are they trying to appeal to, what I'm saying, like their humanity and get him released or something like that so he can run
yeah,
away?
because I also read that they said like between him and Tristan, they have like 10 children.
No way.
Yeah. And I don't know if like I could really verify that either. So yeah, it just seemed like I don't know if they're just throwing everything like against the wall to see what's, oh, we
Uh-huh.
have 10 kids. Oh, I'm sick. Like,
Yeah, gotcha.
um, which like doesn't he smoke cigars?
Yeah,
And I thought you weren't supposed to inhale with cigars.
you're not.
So wouldn't you get like mouth cancer, not like lung cancer?
Unless you're not following, you know what I'm saying, the cigar etiquette and you're inhaling it anyway.
Uh, I don't know. Like, it just seems like asking for a headache.
If you inhale too much cigar smoke, you will most likely get a headache. It 100% does cause a headache.
The American British influencer Andrew Tate may have lung cancer, according to a letter purportedly written by his doctor in Dubai.
Yeah, sounds like a setup to me.
The letter and medical reports in English appear to be translated into Romanian.
Not kill shot saying causal obligation. I second that. Yeah, I don't trust it. I think that it's horseshit.
Kristen really should be a mod too. Hello, welcome.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Um, okay, bye. I'm shy.
I'm sorry?
I'm shy, so I'm gonna leave now.
Oh, okay, Fran. Take
Um,
Okay.
care.
so good night.
Good night.
Good night.
It's okay. We're not gonna make fun of him.
Hi there, I'd just like to talk about the first topic on the top, toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate a little bit more before we carry that on?
Yeah, so toxic masculinity is typically defined by the behavioral traits of stoicism, competitiveness, aggression, dominance, homophobia, and misogyny.
Oh yeah. No, I just think people who don't want men to be men are just looking bubbles.
What?
Or what? What? Bro.
He didn't last long. Shocker.
What did he say? Hey, listen. Hey, listen. Not coming up here telling men how to be real men and then running away.
I am unsatisfied. Shocker again.
So I just want to. I agree with most of what you have to say, but I don't think sex ed should be taught in kindergarten. Not like the whole shebang, but like gender parts, yes, but not sex in general.
When we say sex education, it's not specifically focusing on intercourse. No, so those wouldn't come until like 6th to 8th grade.
Okay.
The reason that sex education does need to start in kindergarten is because it's a scaffold approach, which means that we build upon the education as the child gets older.
Okay. I was just thinking of one extreme, but besides that, everything's awesome that you're debating on people with.
Okay, great. Thank you for coming up.
No problem.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen. Hopefully, you can download this tonight. I want you to clip that specific part and send
Okay.
it to me. I really
Okay.
do. I want that so bad.
Nice moderator you got in this live, I will say.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to ask, and because I just see this as a hypocritical thing, because I can see you're more aligned with leftist ideologies. I'm not party affiliated, so don't accuse me of being some right-winged person, but I don't get the double standard behind banned churches and not drag queens when I can tell you want to be more LGBTQIA inclusive, which means accept everyone for what they want to do and who they are. So I don't get why you're saying ban churches and not drag queens. I think that's kind of hypocritical. And no,
No,
I'm
well,
not a troll. I just have that because I troll in comments. I don't troll in lives.
it's under the premise that typically when people talk about LGBTQ and they're anti their rights, it talks about protecting children. So if I'm going to act under that premise that we need to protect children, that's why I say we ban churches, because churches can be a very dangerous place for children.
Oh, okay, well, I guess in that context, it doesn't really have. I get it, because I thought you were saying like, oh, like ban churches just to ban them,
Well,
and like
I personally would advocate for banning all churches. Me
I
personally, I'm
would as
not going to
well.
speak for Kendra. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I advocate for letting people do whatever the hell they want if they're outside of minor age, which means if they're 18 and older and they choose to want to follow a certain religion, they should be entitled to do that. And there should be churches available and they shouldn't be banned because I guess that's for your, I guess, subjective morality that churches are unsafe and all that stuff. Because a lot of things, because people find, I'm pro-choice, but people find abortion unsafe and inhuman and all that. But that's their opinion and they're entitled to it. I don't think they should
Well,
be
but
made
that
out.
that opinion is incorrect. That's not an educated opinion. So when
What?
we talk about banning churches, I would just say that I mean the building space is unnecessary. You essentially could just congregate somewhere else, like at someone's house. Like
absolutely. And
banning churches
also,
wouldn't prevent you from practicing your religion.
correct. And if you actually read the book, you would know that, you know what I'm saying, like Yeshua himself was not pro-church. He would have been against it himself. And aside from that, he was Jewish. So Christianity is like literally a farce all in and of itself. He never asked anybody to create a new religion or a church in his name. Also, you know what I'm saying, our churches participate quite frequently in and have so for eons now, participate in politics, which there's supposed to be a clear distinction between church and state, and if they cannot separate themselves from politics, then they should be taxed. I mean, like literally, it could go on and on and on. I mean, I can give you cause or reason to substantiate banning churches, like the eradication of indigenous people, the churches, you know what I'm saying, justifying slavery, the churches, the Crusades. I mean, the church literally, Christianity and religion in general is the cause behind more death than both enslaved people, the Holocaust, and any diseases or wars you could think of combined. So yeah, I would say ban the churches.
I mean, I would have to do fact checking on all of that because those are a lot of broad statements that I haven't heard of.
And
And
all factual, otherwise I
me
wouldn't even
being
say
an
it.
ex-Christian, I mean, I think everyone's entitled to their own belief system, their own whatever they want to do. Just like how you guys have your own morals, what you think is completely right. We all don't know what's right and what's wrong because we have been taught what's right and what's wrong since birth, and all we have done is change our ideologies based off of our own perception of what's going on around us. So I don't think banning something because you think it's wrong is the wrong thing because I can say that on the other
It's
side,
not that
you
this
flip the
is our
coin for people who
personal
think abortion
feelings.
is wrong
Yeah, this is
and
our
people who
personal
think
feelings,
drag
bro. So I'm
queens are
not
wrong.
allowed to have my personal opinion, and I gave you a reason to substantiate my personal opinion. Like, I don't know
Yeah,
why
but you
you
gave
just
me a reason with broad statements. I'm not
no,
here.
they're not
I
broad
just said
statements.
I
They
would
were
have to fact
actual
check it.
facts. They were actual facts that you can go look up.
I'm not
Like,
triggered.
I don't understand why you're so upset by it.
I'm not triggered. I'm just saying, like, everyone's entitled to their own belief system, their own whatever they want to follow, whatever they
Right.
want to do,
And
just like how you guys advocate for that.
banning churches doesn't get in the way of that. If you want to still practice your religion, you can do so.
But why does it matter the location of where we're at? Because I understand you guys said that, oh, we eradicated land and crap like that. That's all the way back then. We're talking about
All the
now
way
where we're
back
not doing
then,
that.
friend, are you serious right now? Like the Ku Klux Klan is a religious organization. They still exist.
Yeah, okay, I know that.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like the Christianity is still, you know what I'm saying, the cause behind people suffering to this day. Do you know how many people in just in the United States alone that have to go to therapy for, you know what I'm saying, post-traumatic disorder from their church? Like, bro,
I
this
mean,
isn't back then.
me as an ex-Christian who has gone to churches, I guess since what was it? Since I was dedicated, so I guess since damn birth.
Okay.
I
Why'd you
don't have
stop?
any PTSD from a damn church.
Oh,
I just
okay,
think
that's you.
it's
Your experience doesn't speak to the experience of the other 380 some odd million
exactly
American citizens.
so that means their experience doesn't qualify for all of everyone else's experience. That's what I'm trying
Friend,
to
I
Well,
said it
tell
was my
you.
opinion.
we can see systemic issues within the church, especially like for example the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is a huge institution, not only because of their tax exemption status, but because of their ability to have essentially buildings nationwide. And they have had the means through property as well as through tax exemption to essentially abuse children and have no ramifications because of that, because they can operate independently from the government.
And the Southern
Yeah,
Baptist Church.
I
I
don't
mean, they
agree
have
with that. No.
286 pages of essay incidents. You know what I'm saying, that they just released, what, last year, the year before? 286 pages of essay incidents that they've been covering up for decades. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, of course, and I understand that. Everywhere you go, you're gonna have bad apples, and I do agree
We,
that
It's not
religion
a bad
is
apple. This
no, no,
isn't
no.
bad
I agree.
apple
No, no, I'm
scenarios.
telling you right now. I agree. Religion is very, very, I guess, watered down these days. You got modern Christianity, you got modern Catholicism, you got these modern religions that skew the words of the Bible.
okay.
Yeah, I agree with all of those
It's
things.
not that.
But what I'm
It's the
saying is,
structure of the churches itself.
why do we care if someone wants to go to church, if someone wants to have a church and they're going to do it full-fledgedly where they, you know, they're not molesting someone, as a pastor, and they're just doing it and they're preaching what their belief system is. i don't think that's I don't think that's wrong. Just because you don't agree with everything, you don't agree with the history, you don't agree, you think there's something that's different about the religion that
I
you don't
do
agree
think
with,
they are.
it doesn't
I
entitle you to think they should be banned. That's all I'm saying, because you're here
It's
advocating
not
for
the
these people on
message.
your
So wait,
topics.
no, wait. You're not going to steamroll. So it's not necessarily the theology. I don't agree with theology. That's fair, but it's essentially the way that they can institutionalize themselves. So if you want essentially churches to be able to exist as a building and as a structure, then that's what Jones and I are saying, that they should not be tax exempt, because when you're
Oh, of
tax
course.
exempt, you're not held to certain standards. And when if we make them be held to certain standards, then there can be more investigation. There can be more essentially accountability to how these entities are running.
Oh yeah, no, no, and I agree with that. Yeah, no, because I do agree with that. I don't even get why churches are tax exempt, because I believe in the separation of church and state. I don't think religion should be put into politics. That's why I'm pro-choice and not pro-life. Uh, I mean, I just think that everyone's entitled to do whatever they want. They should have the thought.
No, they
They should
don't.
have the opportunity to think freely, or to go off on a tangent and look into other things, and then also gain knowledge from other things. That's all I think.
And
You know.
again, banning churches wouldn't prevent them from doing that.
At
Oh no,
all.
of course, yeah, but churches have been something that has been involved with many religions. Where you got synagogues, you got I forget where Muslims go. I forget what
Temple,
it's called. Um, I'm
mosque,
guessing it's a
temple,
church, a temple
mosque.
type,
It's called a mosque.
a mosque. Yeah. So I think for every religion, there's places you can have common gatherings. Just like you want to watch the new movie, you have a common place to gather to go watch a movie. You have a common place to share an experience with people who are trying to have the same experience as you. So I don't think churches in and of
When I
itself
go to a
are a
movie
bad
theater, I'm not
thing.
looking
I
to talk
think
to
that the
anybody.
low overhead is what causes this things to happen. Like you were just saying, the tax exempt, the standards being held up to. So I agree with you on that they should have
Well,
that.
I think it's the indoctrination in general.
Well, there's indoctrination with whatever you do. I mean, it's just based off of the person's opinion and what they want to teach you. So I guess
No,
if it's like
there's a
you're a full
difference
grown
between
adult,
beliefs and knowledge. There's a difference between beliefs and knowledge.
yeah, no, of course, but you can start to believe things based off of knowledge gained off of something you're being taught. Like if you don't believe in something, you don't believe in things if you don't have knowledge off of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to go and say, "Oh, I believe
No, that's
in
what literally
Santa," when you
faith
have the
is. That's
knowledge that
literally,
he's not
wait.
real.
That's literally what faith is.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm trying to say is you can have a belief off of knowledge. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You just said that you can't.
No, no, that's literally what faith is. Faith is believing something without evidence.
Oh, okay,
Correct.
then yeah, okay. But I'm talking about beliefs and knowledge. You can have beliefs in things with knowledge. That's all. I thought you were okay. All right. But um, I don't have anything else. Shit, I agree with the systemic racism. I agree with what you were saying about the churches and all that stuff. I okay. The sex ed. What are we talking about? Sex ed for kindergartners? Like, what are we talking about?
It essentially would be a curriculum centered around child abuse, sex prevention, as well as building healthy relationships. So that would be talking about family circles, friend circles, anatomical name of body parts, and then what safe and unsafe touch is, as well as the foundations of understanding bodily autonomy.
Okay, so you're teaching a child about like the dangers of and like what type of relationships you have like these are what parents are, these are what strangers are, these are what these are, and this is what is bad if a stranger touches you, family member touches you, these types of things. You're not teaching
Well,
on.
using the language good touch and bad touch is actually inappropriate, and those terms should be avoided. That's why it's safe and unsafe touch. So
Okay.
that would be one example. And then also anatomical names of body parts so that if unsafe touch occurs, the child can specifically identify which body parts were touched in an unsafe manner. And then family structures might be, little Timmy has a mom and a dad, Julie has two dads, Katie's being raised by her mom and her grandma, just showing that there are different family structures with each kid. So that way, there's more appreciation of how different families look.
Yeah, I guess that's not bad. I'm because I've seen videos of there's this one guy, I forget his name, but he was talking about giving gender transitionary care to kids K through 3, which I don't think that's
What does that mean?
like transitionary, sexual transitionary care. That's what he said in the
What is that?
actual. I don't know. I don't know, but se- I don't think we need to be telling kids at 3 years old when they're learning about things around them that
Well,
you could be this, you
three-year-olds
could be
don't
that, you
go
could be this.
to
I think kids
three
should find it on their own. You know what I'm trying to say? Like
The three year
three
three year
because
olds don't go to
three-year-olds
kindergarten,
don't go to
sir.
kindergarten, number one. And number two, like that statement that you said makes no sense. Because when
what?
we talk about gender affirming care for children that young, it's essentially social transitioning.
And it
There's
wouldn't be for 3 year olds. That wouldn't happen till like 6 or 7.
Well, 6 and 7, I don't think they should be learning about time
No, children absolutely know who
transitioning
they are.
genders and
Just
transitioning
no, no,
stuff
sir,
like that.
Yeah.
sir,
I
no.
have a 5-year-old and he's very much aware that he's a boy.
Yes, children know exactly who they are. The part of your brain that determines how you present your gender socially is fully developed by the time that you're 6 or 7 years old. Fully developed. They absolutely know who they are. I've known that I was a boy my whole life. I've never felt anything different than a boy. I've known that I was straight and a male my whole life.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like, wouldn't you think that if you had a class or a teacher saying that you might be something different
No,
or
no,
saying
no.
that there's
Nobody's
different
suggesting. No,
there's
nobody's. No, no,
possibilities
no,
of
no, no, no. You're
transitioning
not
and
going to
doing all these
steamroll and
things.
just spit out idiocy. No teacher, and no curriculum would tell children, "Oh, you might feel." No, nobody's going to suggest or try to, you know what I'm saying, put any ideas or thoughts into a child's head. If there are children that have already socially transitioned or are beginning the process of socially transitioning, telling other children that it's okay, that that's just who they are, there's nothing wrong with that. We
Yeah, but
should
that's what
be
I'm trying
able
to
to
but
tell
that's what I'm trying to
children
say.
should be accepting of other people no matter how they present themselves.
But that's what I'm trying to say though. I don't think a
Doesn't matter
six
what
year
you
old or
think.
7-year old like saying, "Oh, I'm socially transitioning. I'm a woman." Like A child doesn't
No,
know
children aren't
really
They
what
women.
they are. Like,
Children
they
aren't
would say
women.
like I'm a girl. If you would like some literature to read, I recommend that you go to futureofsexed.org. It breaks down each of these points when it comes to comprehensive sex education, and it's based off of 3 decades of research. This one bullet point here, young children as young as preschool are quite capable of understanding and discussing issues related to gender diversity, including gender expectations, gender nonconformity, and gender-based oppression. So yes, they do have the capacity to understand these topics.
okay, so then why do we have to teach them the understanding of good touch and bad touch if they understand these complex things?
So
Because you're
we're
making it
talking
sound
about
like
gender.
they're
Wait.
very
We're talking about gender right now. And now you're pivoting, going back to talking about
no.
intercourse.
But what I'm saying is you're presenting this information to me like children are very self-aware.
They
When
are.
I'm saying that children, I don't think children are
I
fully
just said children are
self-aware of
quite
who they are.
capable of understanding.
Okay, but
I
that's what
just
I'm
said the
saying. If they're
concepts
capable of
around
understanding
gender.
that, I'm pretty sure they'd understand what good touch and bad touch is because you're talking
Oh
about
my
how
Lord, have
fully
mercy.
self-aware they are.
Again, good touch and bad touch is not the language used. It is safe touch and unsafe touch.
Safe or
And
unsafe?
no, when you're comparing apples to oranges here. When it comes to understanding gender, that is a part of someone's identity, and they can recognize their own identity internally because that's where your identity is. No one can tell you what your identity is. You just know innately. But when we talk about unsafe touch and safe touch, yes, these are experiences that children haven't been exposed to, which is why it's important to give them the tools, not only to recognize it, but to be able to create a safe environment to where they can communicate it. So please don't be
Okay, but then
disingenuous
don't you
here,
think that
thinking
would,
that
but well then don't you think that would be confusing though? Like
no,
amongst children, where if children are in school, like because I remember when I was in third grade, I'm talking to kids, you're
no, no,
getting to
no, no,
make
no,
friends
no,
and
no. I'm
everyone's
not. No,
identifying as
you
something that
asked me a
they're
question. Please don't steamroll. No, it is not confusing. Children know what their hand is. Children know what their head is. So we can certainly teach them anatomical body parts. Children can understand, are quite capable of understanding ideas surrounding gender because they can identify certain parts of their identity.
okay. So I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, if a boy in class says I'm a girl, no, that's how I feel. I am a girl. I am all that. I'm just asking this because I'm trying to pick your brain because I'm trying to understand. Is it where you're going to conform that child and be like, look, yes, okay, you're a girl, and you start addressing that child as a girl? Or are you going to give the proper sex ed that, look, hey, you're a boy, you have this part, you have this? And I think that's also, it
Sex
branches
and
off
gender are
between
two
sex and
different
gender. Yeah,
things.
no, that's what I was just about to say. That it breaks in between that. And don't you think as a 6-year-old and 7-year-old, it'd be confusing where it's like, what am I? What am I this? And it causes confusion in the child themselves. Like I analyze I think I'm a girl, but this teacher's saying that I'm a boy. But and then you try to teach them that sex and
You're
gender are two
doing it
different
again.
things.
I
I'm thinking,
literally,
isn't
bro,
that
you're
confusing?
being very disingenuous right now. I literally just explained to you that no curriculum is going to tell a child that you might be something else. No curriculum
No,
is
but
going
that's
to do
I
that.
know, but that's I didn't say that. I said that
Okay,
if
no,
a
you
kid is
said, and
coming
then the
to a
teacher is
teacher.
telling them you might be something else. That's literally what you just said.
No, okay, the host said that they're gonna teach the anatomical body parts, like so they can articulate if someone does the safe, unsafe touch, all those types of things. So what I'm saying is, if you're telling a child, yes, you have a you know a man part, right? I don't know what's good or
Okay,
bad on
so
this app,
Male,
Fred,
but
you're
right,
leaving
male.
out a
right,
whole. Okay,
or
okay, just stop, just stop,
you're
just stop, just
biologically a
stop,
male,
stop,
right?
please, for the love of God, please stop.
You're
Listen,
talking.
please be quiet for a second. What you are not understanding is nobody is saying that a child comes home and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm a girl now," and then the parents are like, "Oh, okay, well, let's run to Walmart and grab you a bunch of girl clothes, and then tomorrow when you go to school, you can dress as a girl." That's not how any of this works. You would
That's
take
not
your
what I'm
child.
saying.
Please be quiet. You would take your child, you know what I'm saying, to see a psychiatrist, a therapist, you know what I'm saying, a variety, a battery of different specialists to make sure that what they're saying, you know what I'm saying, aligns with how they're actually feeling. And then they would socially transition as the doctors and the parents see appropriate. And the only job the teacher has is to make sure that the other children are accepting of that child's existence. Period. There's no other questions to ask. I've explained it all to you. That is the end of it.
Well, if we learned that we were on planet Earth, not every family is as accepting to a child, where they're going
And
to go
that's
and
where we
take them
need
to
to.
that
That's why we need to
psychiatrist, or
That's
where they're
why
have
going to
those
the
take
things
them
that's why
available.
the
to those
curriculum
places.
is
That's
that's
why
why the
I'm
curriculum
saying it
that's why the
makes it
curriculum
confusing.
is important. That's why the curriculum is
Of
important.
course,
Research
of course.
suggests that
And
narrow.
no, I'm saying what you're saying is all the things that you have stated about what you would teach to a child, I am in full agreement with. I'm just asking, don't you think that if a child that doesn't have the access with their parents or the acceptance of their parents were like, hey, no, you're this, no, you're that, and they're in school asking their teachers these questions, it would cause internal confusion with the child. I'm just asking for multiple instances where these are cases that
No,
may
no, you're
happen.
not. No, you're not.
Because I'm not in opposition towards teaching sex ed. I just wanted to ask what in totality was being taught because
So when it
I just saw
comes
it
to
on your.
this type of curriculum, it would be taught with a social worker. They would be the most qualified for the curriculum. And the social worker's job, like Mr. Jones said, is primarily to keep children safe. That's either keeping children safe when it comes to what they want to communicate with their family circle, with their friend circle, and how they interact with other children. So I can't give you a general answer because it would be dependent on so many situations. What we're saying is that research suggests that narrow views of gender and the reinforcement of gender stereotypes in young children can lead to gender-based harassment. So the point is to focus efforts to increase acceptance of transgender and gender non-conforming people, which can be effective. And we've seen that children as young as preschool understand these concepts.
Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't sound anything bad. I mean, because I'm not here trying to like be here like trying to oppose everything you're saying. I'm just trying to make sure like in all instances because there's a lot of cases of different situations. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if some kid was like going up to their class because you're saying that they would teach their parts, right? They would teach what's unsafe. You said safe and unsafe touch.
Sure.
I don't think that those are bad things because I live in Florida and I have DeSantis as a governor saying that, you know, we can't teach these things. And then he's also trying to take away abortion rights, which I think is asinine because you're taking away proper sexual education. And then you don't, when kids are not fully educated on sexual things, they get taken advantage of. They get all these, they get unwanted pregnancies, and then you don't offer them a way out for something they didn't even consent to. I think that's messed up. I mean, so
Yeah,
I don't think I just
DeSantis is
wanted to
appealing to his
ask for
Christian
more
base,
information.
100.
Yeah. No, so that I was just asking because I didn't know what that is because there's some people where there's some and I'm being honest, there's people here on live that think kids should be able to transition, like surgery transition from K through 12, and that should be made
Nobody
readily
thinks
available.
that. Nobody
Yes,
thinks
there
that.
are.
Well,
No, there's not.
conservatives think
Yes,
that
there
because they're
are.
dumb.
And Mr.
Um,
Jones, for you to say that no one says that, that's very
No
factually
person advocating for
incorrect.
trans rights believes that.
There is
No person.
people
No, there's
there,
not.
but I'm not saying people that advocate. See, you added a different type of demographic to preach what you're saying that no one does that. I'm saying that there are people out there that have advocated for that
No, there
from the
hasn't
beginning.
been.
no, there hasn't.
Yes, there are
Be-
people out there that think
no,
that that should
because it's
happen.
not possible. Like that. That's why when kids, trans kids, that's why it's social transitioning. Then when they reach puberty, it's puberty blockers and hormone therapy. And then they go through, if they feel so, additional gender affirming care through surgery.
Yeah, and
But
that
you
doesn't
have to
typically
wait for
happen
the
until
body
they're
to
nearly
grow. You
20.
you can't perform that on children because their body is still growing.
I understand that. What I'm trying
So
to
that's
say
what I'm
is
saying. Any
there are
educated
people that are
person
there are people that are
is
not
not
educated
advocating
on
for
that.
that.
I understand. There are people that are not educated on the fact that you have to do that when they're more developed, but they're just saying that they should have that care or there should be research put into that where kids at that age should be able to do that based off of what they feel at that time. So I'm saying that there are
They're
people out
saying
there
that
that
they should
say
be
that.
able to socially transition, and social transitioning is a part of gender affirming care.
I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying.
No, we heard you.
I'm talking about surgery, transitional surgery, where
You
you know
can't
how
have surgery when you're a kid.
exactly, and I agree with that. But I'm saying there are people saying there should be research and money put into that
No,
to
there's not.
advocate for
No,
that.
there's not.
And I'm
Can
saying
you
that there
give
are
me a
people
source?
that say that. I'm not saying
Can you
political figures. I'm not saying
can you
political
give
figures.
me
I'm
a
saying people on
source?
this app. I'm saying people on this
Can
app.
oh okay, I don't care.
Fucking dumbass. Jeez.
There's nobody on this app advocating for that. Like that's absurd. Y'all couldn't name a single person on here advocating for anything of that sort.
Hello, welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I kind of came in with the whole debate around, transitioning children, but I do think the puberty blockers situation should be considered a form of medical transition that should be illegal at this point. We're starting to see that there are a lot of side effects.
That is
Um,
not true, ma'am.
it is true, and I can actually pull up an article really quickly for you.
And I can
There's
give
a
you
young
10 that'll
there's
do
a
not.
there's a young woman in um, the UK who has sued over it. We're talking about the effects of Lupron. And let's just take a philosophical approach. If you are
No.
blocking
One second. There are cis kids who use puberty blockers.
right, very rare cases in those who have precocious
Right. So
puberty,
now
and
it's
they are not
only an
on them. Let me
issue.
finish speaking. They're not on them for years and years and years. So you are giving them to children who do not have medical anomalies to delay puberty. And so here's the issue with this. It's twofold. First of all, we know that Lupron, for instance, if you put someone on puberty blockers for 2 or 3 years and take them off, are they really 18 the way that another 18-year-old is? Can you really say that they are of the age of consent when we know that puberty, the hormonal changes that take place during puberty, drive neurological changes, drive social and biological milestones that they miss? And then we do know that putting a child on puberty blockers can lead to like micro penis. Like once they're off the blockers, your body doesn't just suddenly catch up. So the puberty blocker, in my mind, is not a sufficient answer to a child with gender dysphoria because it does have long-term effects. And we know that it's causing brittle bones, it's causing delayed intellectual issues. Some of the people who've been put on it already are talking
Okay,
about
can you
it.
please
What is your
provide
And
the
there are,
source?
source?
hold on,
Because
let me
none of
pull up
these
a
things
source
are
for
true.
you because now
What
None of
is
these
your
things are
there are
true.
source?
even U.S. medical doctors who are
What
pro-trans and medical.
is your source?
I'm going to pull it up right now. Give me just one
Thank you.
second.
This is ridiculous.
All right. So and lost too much. Okay, so I just Googled this now. 2003 study in the New England Journal of Medicine concluded that
Okay,
some
do you
kids
have
on drugs.
something sooner than do you have something more recent than 2003?
I just Googled it. Give me one second. Hold on.
Wait,
Because
I thought you
this is
said
a
you already had a source, not that you would
no,
go
I
look for
read
the
them before,
source.
but obviously I just joined the conversation. I mean, if you give me a moment, I'll pull it up. There's no need to lie, and I'll give you the exact source. So let's see. FDA, this is August 6th, 2022. FDA adds new warning for commonly used puberty blockers. Let's see. The FDA is warning potential side effects certain puberty blocker drugs have from transgender treatment. Now, mind you, this is a treatment that is used to castrate adult men. And you
It's
were
not
saying that
true.
this is sufficient.
Not
Yes, it
true.
is.
Not
Hold on.
no.
Let me
No,
pull
no,
up a
no,
source
no.
for that too.
No, I'm
Uh,
going to counter that point. So
mm,
puberty blockers, if you take too much, if you do not partake the prescribed amount, then yes, it can result in chemical castration. But that
So
is not
why
But we
did
the
you
don't use it
say
for
it
that.
wasn't true?
one second. No. If you take too much aspirin, if you take too much ibuprofen, that can kill you.
Causing micro penis. Hold on. Give me one second. So what is too much? Because it appears that these effects are, for instance, with Jazz Jennings, the reason why they could not go forward with their transition surgeries because there was not even enough flesh on their micro penis to create what is supposed to appear like a vaginal canal. So you guys can pretend that these issues aren't issues, but they're
We
emerging
are
issues now that
pretending.
we
We
have.
are asking you to
No,
substantiate your claim.
I'm
And
substantiating it right now. Hold on.
No,
no,
Give
no,
me
you're
you're
not. You haven't given us a source, friend.
no, all right, give me one second. So this is I wouldn't consider the most credible. So let me continue to look for another one. Slate. Let's see. Okay, so Kate, this is a news source. Cat TV, which is a news source. Early this month, the FDA talks about indicating that there is serious risk for youth who take them. The FDA identified 6 cases in females between 5 to 12 who were taking the agonist, which presented a plausible association between GnRH agonist use and pseudotumor cerebri. So 5 of the 6 cases. So this is, I'm not going to go into this story, but do you want me to like post a link to this?
No, I just need the title.
Okay, so it says FDA warns puberty blockers may cause brain swelling, vision loss in children. I'm going to find another one that talks about the delayed intellectual delays. Puberty blockers, delay and bone density. And so, like I said before, I mean, this is just more of a philosophical issue. If you are blocking someone going from one of the most important biological milestones of their lives, if you're blocking that completely, when they come off that medication at 18, 19, and most of them don't, because even though
It's
they
a
say it's supposed to
conjecture.
wait, hold on, most of them say that it's supposed to give you the chance later to figure out if you want to transition. If 90 something percent of the kids continue to transition, then it's not doing what it's supposed to do, which is giving them the opportunity to think twice. What it's doing is setting them on this gateway to medically transition rather than giving. And then also, like I said
Ma'am,
before,
you
if
just
they're
okay,
not
ma'am. You have to give up. You have to take a breath and allow us to respond, so that I can give you the
okay, go
actual
ahead, respond.
information. Because I mean, this is absurd at this point. Like,
Is it?
okay,
The New York
it
Times
really
says,
is. It really
go ahead.
is.
The New York Times says they
Oh
pause
man,
puberty, but is there a cost? That's the title of the article, the
So
New York Times.
we don't want news articles. We want an actual medical journal.
like PubMed, a medical journal of some sort. Not the New York Times, the Mayo
Okay, well,
Clinic.
Yeah, and even your own source, it says plausible association. It's not even confirming.
it is, okay, hold on one
It's
second. We can
plausible
sit here.
association is not a confirmation.
Let's see. Did you check the New York Times article?
I'm not going to check the New York Times
Of course you
article.
won't, because you guys
No,
don't.
because I follow the American College of Pediatrics, the American Association of
The
Pediatrics,
American
the
College of
American.
Pediatrics, can you send me a link to or a title for that article? For those articles?
Okay, ma'am. There's and if you would have let me ever speak,
You're speaking
there,
right
there.
now.
It's not really good for your case.
Speak. I'm saying speak. Puberty blockers. You said you wanted to speak.
I'm good. You're not. You obviously didn't come here for to be educated. You came here
I
so that you
no,
could
I
be
didn't
right.
come to be educated. I came to ask. I mean, in articles
No, you
aside,
came here so you could be
or
right. So that's
you guys
fine.
said
Be
you don't
right.
want news articles. Now the issue is that news articles are oftentimes an introduction to a topic, so you have to read through the article to find the academic studies, and it's going to
Okay.
take time as more
Don't
children.
you think? Let me
Don't
ask you
start
a
talking
question.
when I'm
Let me ask you a
talking.
question.
And as more children are on these medications, we're starting
Jesus
to see these
Christ.
side effects. So I'm going to ask again: if you put a child on puberty blockers,
If you ever would
and they are
stop
not
cutting
allowed
me
to
off, I would
develop
have
with those
answered all your
biological
questions by
milestones, those
now.
neurological
I
milestones,
would have answered all of your
is a child
questions
that has
by
been
now
on
if you'd ever stop talking.
is a
This is
child that
not
has
your
been on
live.
you
This is not your live.
is a
You
child
didn't
that
come
is
here to be
if a
educated. You
child
came
I'm
here
not
so
here
that
to
you could
be educated by
steamroll and
you,
be
no.
right.
I'm not here to be educated by you, no. I'm here to discuss. So again, I'm going to ask,
This is
if a child has been
absolutely
placed on
dumb, man.
puberty blockers for 4 years between 12 and 16, when they're taken off the puberty blockers, are they 16 like the average 16-year-old, neurologically,
Obviously not. They've been
developmentally?
on puberty
Are
blockers. You
there
don't make any sense.
so how can we talk about consent for a child who identifies as trans? How can we talk about consent at the age of 18 when they're not really 18, when
Okay, you ever gonna
they've been medically stunted? How do we talk
puberty
about
blockers
consent?
doesn't block their brain
It does.
development.
It doesn't. You said
Block
it
their
doesn't block what
God.
development? You said it doesn't block
You're
which development?
you're making a lot of assumptions.
I'm not. He said it. What is the claim you made that it doesn't block what development?
Doesn't block their
Brain.
brain development.
Puberty blockers and brain development. Let's see.
Ma'am, don't
Are
you
you
think
like
before you come up here
informed
and make
on
all these
this topic?
Hold on.
assertions that you
No,
should
wait.
actually be
You guys.
educated?
It's because you
Oh my
guys
God, are
want
you
the
really
academic
cutting me off
sources.
again?
Brain maturation, cognition, and voice patterns in a gender. Here we go. Here's an article. Hold on. Involving pubertal suppression. Let's see.
Here's an article that fits my narrative that I'm Googling on the spot because I really haven't done my research until now. That's what you're telling me.
No, I've done research before, but I don't have articles stacked up. But it sounds like you guys are not open to hearing this anyway.
Because you won't let me talk. You don't even know who I
I just
am.
sat quietly. I sat quietly for like 5 minutes, and you said I'm not
I
going to talk
I
because you're not
have
here to be
actually
educated.
refuted
So
several
talk.
points that you made, even talking about chemical castration.
Okay, here it goes. To the patient's baseline low average cognitive performance. So I'll name another article. Here you go. Brain
What are you
maturation.
reading
This
from?
is from 2017. Brain maturation, cognition, and voice patterns in gender dysphoria cases under pubertal suppression. So I'm just scanning this really quickly with you. So I could be wrong.
See, this is why it feels very disingenuous. Is
Why is
that
it
you're
disingenuous?
I'm telling you, is that you're on here Googling and then finding an article that you haven't read and saying certain headlines to support your claim.
Because
If
I
you
read many
had,
of these articles.
one second, if you
Okay.
had done the research, you would know what the article said.
Because I've done I've done research before. I don't have
Then
articles
why are you
backed up.
reading articles that
Why
you
would I
should have
have the
already
articles
read?
saved? Are you like dense? Like, why would I have the articles just
You
saved?
don't have to have the article saved to know what it says. If you have
I
read
am
it,
making a
then you
claim. The
know what
claims
it
that I'm
says.
making, hold on. The claims that I'm making is me repeating the crux of the argument. But you guys are saying pull up the
It's
exact
not because
academic journal. And then when I pull up a news article that supports that, you say, no, it needs to be an academic journal. It needs to be PubMed. It needs to be this, this, and that. So, of course, it's going to take me time.
yes,
But I am making a claim.
do you understand what a primary, secondary, and tertiary source is?
Yes, I do. Do
Great.
you know
Then
that
why
in
do you
academic,
not?
hold on, do you know that academic studies are not necessarily always primary sources and that they can also be wrong?
When news articles are reporting that something happened, it doesn't necessarily mean that the contents that they're reporting are scientifically accurate. So that's what
Wait
we're
a minute,
asking you
I'm
for.
sorry,
Why
you're
can't you
my
allow
argument.
No,
anybody
A
to
no,
news
speak?
article is supposed to report objectively on the findings
no, it's
from
not.
the academic article. Yes, it
No,
is.
it's not.
So if something is in the New York Times and they
If
say that
it's
an article in the
reporting that the
American Journal of
FDA
Medicine
put this
makes a
label on
claim, you
something,
can easily go to that
no, no,
journal.
no.
You can't
If you're
discount the
just
work
going
of
to
a
come on here and
newspaper just because
steamroll,
it's
I'm
not the
just going to
primary
kick you.
source.
Okay.
If you can't discount it because it's not a primary source. I'm sorry.
You haven't allowed anybody to tell you anything. This is absolutely absurd. Why would you even waste your time just to come up here and yell at a bunch of things? Okay, I'm going to say what I wanted to say any fucking way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's literally, you know what I'm saying, countless the American Association of Pediatric Medicine, the American Association of of pediatric psychology. I mean, like I can go down the list of all of these people, you know what I'm saying, of all of these groups of doctors that have peer reviewed each other's studies, that have been studying these things for decades. There's very little side effects, you know what I'm saying, to puberty blockers. Not only is there little side effects to them, but once you come off the puberty blockers, your body naturally starts to pick up. And if it doesn't, you know what I'm saying, there's medications that you can take that also have very little side effects that will, you know what I'm saying, catch you up. Like everything she came up here and spewed was misinformation. She didn't even attempt, you know what I'm saying, to learn anything else. She's sitting here trying to read articles off the fly. You know what I'm saying? She literally had no factual foundation for anything that she had to say. Like this is ignorant. Why would you involve yourself in a conversation that you have never studied before in your entire life? Like you literally have no idea what you're talking about. You're just looking for something to back up your, you know what I'm saying, your bias.
Exactly. That's why you're Googling things that fit your narrative.
It's fucking crazy, man.
Oh, I was just going to come up here and agree with you. That I mean,
Thanks.
if you're going to come on a debate, then have your information there where you can grab it and be prepared. Don't just, do stuff like that. And someone who went to college for child development, brain is not fully developed until age 25 anyway. And the media is not objective. The media does not put both sides to a story. The media is going to put out what fits their agenda.
Right.
So
Somebody
I
said we
think
told her
she
to pull
kind
it
of
up. That's not what we did. We did not tell her to pull it up. We said, you have a source.
exactly. Then she
We
should
didn't
have.
ask her to
Then
pull
she should.
anything up. We didn't ask her to Google anything. We didn't ask her to go look for it now. We said, what is your source? Where is the source of this information? Because it goes against all the other studies, all of the other academic studies that have ever been done. So we did not ask her to pull it up. We asked her to
I realize
provide
that.
her sources. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the comments.
Oh, oh, okay. I'm sorry. But if you're going to come and debate, then you have your sources right there where you can grab it. I'm totally
When we are
agreeing with
not allowing children, you know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing 40% of trans youth verbalize or attempt their lives. The more by the time that they're 18, almost 80% of them have attempted, you know what I'm saying, have attempted to take their lives. In addition to that, the average life expectancy for a trans individual in the United States of America is 35 years old. If we allowed for a gender affirming care at a younger age, if we allowed for puberty blockers so that young men and women didn't start to develop in a body that felt foreign to them, then we could prevent these people from losing their lives. And this just proves that you guys lack empathy, basic human empathy or basic care for humanity, because you cared about children, then you would make sure that they had all the care they need to stay alive.
Hello, new guests. Welcome.
Hi. Um, I was wondering about like the band churches not drag queens thing. Like, I don't understand why that would make any sense in the first place.
So right now there's a narrative going on within the Conservative Party that we need to have bans on drag queens because children are unsafe. So if we're going to argue that premise, I would argue that churches are unsafe for children.
Okay, then churches aren't unsafe for children though.
They are. Historically, we can see many churches within the United States perform committing child molestation or sexual abuse. We have more statistics on churches actually having sexual abuse problems than we do any kind of drag queens or LGBTQ community.
Or any other institution in the entire United States.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard about like a lot of Catholic churches with that. I've also heard about Christian, but not as much as Christian churches than Catholic and other religions.
The Protestant and
I know
Baptist
what
church
happens in all churches,
are
but
equally.
depending on
Yeah.
the people, yeah, I don't know. I was wondering for like your input on that, but yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, the Mormon church, the Baptist church, the Protestant church, they're all equally at fault.
Kenzie,
Hello, welcome.
hello. I don't know if you remember me. We spoke the other day. I'm the brown man. My name's Cadence.
I don't.
Oh, okay. I think we were discussing, I think something to do with toxic masculinity then as well.
Okay.
So I don't believe it exists. Um, I don't really understand where this came from. I think masculinity is a net positive for society.
So, I don't remember the conversation, so remind me what we've already talked about. But the American Psychology Association has identified 4 behaviors that have been prescribed to masculinity that are showing inherent harmful outcomes, which are stoicism, competitiveness, aggression, and dominance. If we look at the person who coined the term toxic masculinity in the 80s, Shepard Bliss, he also talks about homophobia and misogyny being a part of harmful traits prescribed to masculinity.
I got you, but I think we need that as a society in order to have stability, in order to have protection. Like, how could you?
You need
How could
misogyny and homophobia to have a stable
no,
society.
no? You need dominance and the ability to protect yourself as well as others.
What do you mean by dominance?
Like the ability to win.
Who are you dominating?
When what?
I mean, depends on the scenario. It could be competition in business, uh, sports, uh, whatever. I think it's a healthy part of life.
I actually think it really creates poor moral poor morals and ethics, especially within the workplace. Masculinity becomes toxic when it's tied to behavior designed to get ahead at all costs. The same toxic message is echoed in phrases such as winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. When these attitudes take hold, abusive behavior that helps men get ahead is minimized, normalized, or even encouraged.
I think that you can definitely, be competitive and still have your morals intact. Don't you agree?
How are you competitive towards other people?
By just trying to, in sports, just trying to outscore them. Like, you can do that and still
Well, we're
be a
talking
good
about
person.
workplace. We're talking about workplace.
Okay. Uh, by just outperforming them in whatever your job is.
Do you know that women run corporations with women CEOs outperform those with male CEOs? You know what I'm saying? Almost 5 to 1. Did you know that?
What does that have to do with anything?
Oh, Lord have mercy. So your idea of masculinity, right, is male driven, is it not?
Do you know that those companies that they probably are CEOs of were probably built by men?
That
And
what is your
so is just about everything else that
so hold on, let me ask you a question.
that's around you in day-to-day
Let
life.
me
You
ask you
know
a
that,
question.
right? Like the car, the
Who gave
house.
birth to you? Who gave birth to you? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's about all you got going
No,
on.
I'm asking. Who gave birth to you? That's all I want to know.
A woman.
Okay, great. So you mean to tell me?
Unless
Hold on.
you believe in something
I don't know what you're
else.
talking about. I don't know what you're talking
Yes,
about.
you do.
So
Yes, you do. You know what I'm talking about. You're not being genuine, but go ahead.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think you're being genuine.
Yeah. So you mean to tell me that, like, without the existence of men, that women wouldn't be able to create a society? That's what you're telling me?
I don't think that they'd create a as productive one. I think that they would probably destroy each other, to be honest.
I
Based
don't
on
think
what? Men start all
society
the
is
wars.
doing well.
Men start all the wars. So based on what?
I just don't think that they can be very civil with each other and that they're very productive just amongst themselves. I
Based
think.
on what? This is absurd. I'm in the upside down. I swear to God.
What's up?
I would argue that the patriarchy does not breed civility. I would argue that certain ideologies like colonialism and imperialism, as well as capitalism, are very much rooted around the patriarchy so that men can maintain dominance. And when you have this type of power structure, I don't think that breeds civility. Even if we talk about capitalism, capitalism isn't working well.
How so? Like, I think that the U.S. is a great example of working well compared to, places that don't have free speech, or you know places where you could have your life ended just because they don't like your ideas.
So, if we look at capitalism in practice, looking at the US, the most developed capitalistic country and the richest country in the world, 1 in 7 Americans rely on food banks. In 2020, 38.3 million people live in a food insecure household. 100% of counties and congressional districts are home to people facing hunger. So, this is just essentially on food scarcity. 1 in 3 people facing hunger are unlikely to qualify for SNAP. People facing hunger report needing $44 per month to meet their food needs. Do you want to go into other? During the pandemic, unemployment claims rose to 6.6 million in 1 week. So even a pandemic created huge instability within capitalism. If we look at imperialism and war, like, do you
I
recognize
was gonna
that
say
our
that
Fif-
we
capitalists?
still have
54% of
that
our adults
everything
can't read above a
everything
fifth grade reading level.
everything that you
Sixty
just
percent of our sixty
I mean
percent of our population is $500 away from abject poverty. Like, they're not doing a good job.
sure, but
If
a
they're leading us straight off of a cliff.
majority of our population is still doing better than people who
That
can't
that's
afford
not
food.
that's
We
not the
live here.
standard. That's not the standard.
we
You said
the
capitalism is working, not
It's
that
not
we're doing
working.
better than other people.
Yeah, speaking from the standpoint of the U.S.,
Yes, it's not working.
we're doing better than most people.
Most people where? We
That's
live
not the
here.
standard. To say that we're doing better than most people doesn't
Hmm.
support the claim that capitalism is working.
Okay, I mean, what would have to happen for
You
you guys to?
realize that the communities that you are talking about that
Mm-hmm.
aren't doing as well as the United States
Mm-hmm.
because the United States has essentially exploited them in terms of labor. The United States is a first world country because of slavery, as well as because of the exploitation of Latin America
Correct. And parts of Africa.
But we're still doing
and the
better.
indigenous community. What?
We're still doing better. I mean, despite the means of how we got here, we're still doing better.
Better,
You
okay,
completely
friend, better
ignored what I
than
just
what?
said.
One. Better than what? One. And number two, we live here. 60% of our population is $500 away from abject poverty. 1 in 5 children go to bed without food every night. Better than what? And why would I be
Are you
concerned
saying
about
that? Are
anything
you saying
other
that
than here?
the rest of the world would be doing better than us? Then is that what you're?
We're
There
saying
are
Okay.
capitalism
countries that are
isn't
doing better than
working.
us.
Yes, and overall, we're saying capitalism isn't working. Capitalism heavily relies on exploitation, and for the majority of Americans, we aren't doing well. Like Jones just said, 60% of Americans are $500 away from abject poverty. How is that working?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a problem to address. I don't think that it's a reason to
You
go
can't
without
create poverty.
capitalism.
You can't create
Like,
poverty
what
with a
would be
system.
the
Hold on,
alternative
friend,
then?
friend, just give me a second. You cannot create poverty with a system and then say that that's the system that you need to get out of the system you created the poverty with. That literally is circular reasoning. You can't say, "Hey, I'm going to give you something and it's going to create poverty, and then this is the system that also is going to save you from poverty." 80% of American
I
citizens
mean,
will die.
I'll take it
Friend,
over
please don't
slavery.
interrupt me. Please don't interrupt me.
I'll take it over
80% of
slavery.
citizens will die in the same or worse socioeconomic status than they were born into. Upward mobility doesn't exist under this
That's a
system.
choice.
What do you
It's
mean?
not a choice.
It's a choice. Yes, it's most definitely a choice. I
No, it's
believe
It's
not.
that
not.
I believe that it's you're in charge of your own life and your own
So
success.
you're telling me
If you
20%
believe
of the people in
otherwise,
America just don't got it? Yeah, I mean the 20% of the people got it, and the other 80 are just shit human beings.
if you don't make it as a success in life, it's your fault.
Okay, so you know what makes up that other 20%?
I'm sure you'll enlighten me.
I'm definitely going to. People's families who already have money or access to land or homes in which they can derive money from, like get loans and things of that nature.
Hmm.
So that they can, buy businesses or other property or send their children to school. You know what I'm saying? So like those are the only people for the most part, and don't like bring up like a LeBron James or anything like that. That's called an exceptionalism argument. Those other people, you know what I'm saying, are coming from money. Like none of the
Hmm.
people that we revere as rich, whether it be Bill Gates or Elon Musk or, what's the
Jeff
Amazon?
Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. Not all of those people came from money. Every single one of them came from money. Like this whole idea of pull yourself up by the bootstrap, self-made nonsense. Like even their
It's not nonsense though. People do it.
ancestors were
It
given
really
land
is.
grants.
It really is. Do you
What?
think anyone can replicate what Jeff Bezos did?
No, not anyone. That's incredible success. Props to him.
And he stole most of his intellectual property from other people.
Well, and you have to recognize so many different variables, like that he built Amazon in terms of the time when the tech boom was coming, that he had a
Hmm.
$250,000 investment from his parents. How many people have access to where your parents can give you $250,000 to invest in your business?
I'm not
Right.
This
saying
is
that
the issue
that we
with
could all.
hyper individualism is that you guys think certain results is replicatable when you completely ignore systemic barriers and how a population is unable to cross those barriers as a whole. One or two people get through, so you think that everyone can get through. It's not how it works.
I don't think that
80% of
everyone can get
Americans,
through. I think if you try hard enough.
80% of Americans share 7%, 7% of the United States wealth.
Hmm. I just don't think that we're limited. I believe that
It
if you
doesn't
really
matter
want it, you
what you
can make it
think. The
happen.
stats, the stats are against you. All of the data says that you're wrong. All of the data says you're wrong. And I don't understand why when we have these conversations that the
Why
data
are
that
you
has been
so
studied over
angry?
the course,
I
friend,
like our
because the
tones are
data that's
pretty.
been
Our
studied over
tones
the
are pretty
course of
mellow, and you're
decades.
yelling.
this data that's been
He's
studied
not
over the course
yelling
of
at you.
decades.
Oh, this is just how he talks. I
That's
got
just
it.
how I talk. The data
Okay, okay.
that's studied over the course of decades, you know what I'm saying, goes against your opinion, but you're more willing to lean on your opinion than the actual data. Like, make it make sense, friend.
Because nobody's stopping me from making more money.
Lord have mercy.
Nobody's stopping you from making more money. You can start your own business. You can if you're actually good at it, you'll succeed. You can
90%
make
of
whatever
businesses,
you'd
90% of
like.
businesses fail within the first 2
If you,
years.
yeah, and if
The
yes,
other
because you're
10% fail
probably
within the first 5 years.
right, probably because you're not good at it.
So that means nobody's good at it then.
Most people are terrible. I mean,
Nope.
we
Then
can
the system
acknowledge.
doesn't work.
Then the system doesn't work. You just proved our
No, it
point.
just means that you're just not
Yeah.
educated in business. We should just
It's not
acknowledge
what that means. That's not what that means. People have
it.
MBAs who start
If you're
businesses who don't have successful businesses.
well, I think that
These aren't
difference
these aren't
between
minorities.
there's a
If you
difference
we are
between
going to have a
textbook
system
knowledge and
that works,
Mhm.
shouldn't it work for everybody?
If they're taught correctly. I don't think they're taught correctly.
You don't
So
have
where do you
any
go to
kind
get
of
this education to
evidence.
be taught correctly? Please tell me that. Where do you go?
Well, it depends on what business. I think that you should be taught like
Okay,
specific to the
let's talk
business
business. Give me a business.
that you're working in.
Give me a business.
What business do you own?
0.
Oh, okay. I own one. So you don't own a business. What business degree do you have?
Okay. What
I mean,
business do you
can
own?
you provide it with with any kind of source that supports your opinion here?
I mean, the fact that we can all start our own business is like
You
I
have to have
don't
money to start a business.
You have to have money. That's why I asked you what business. If you're going to be in restaurants, you have to have minimum $80,000 just to cover overhead, supplies, the building, and labor. And that's, I would say, actually a conservative amount. You have to have money to start a business.
Yeah, and if
you
everybody
don't
started a
need that
business,
much. Like you
and
don't
if
have to go as big
everybody
as a
started a
restaurant.
business, if everybody
You could
started a business, who's
you
going to
could
work?
literally
If
sell
everybody
your
started a
writings
business, who's the
that you wrote
laborers?
on a dollar notepad if
If
you're half
everybody
decent at
started a
writing. I mean, if
business,
you don't need to open something as big as a restaurant in order to start a business, in order to
if
be an
everybody
entrepreneur.
started a business, who are the employees going to be?
What business? What business can you start with no money?
Art.
Art?
So everybody's
Yeah.
an artist now.
Now, I'm not saying
Have you
everybody
ever
has to
heard
be
the
an
term
artist. I'm giving
starving
you
artist?
examples.
Have you ever heard the term starving artist?
Yes.
Yeah. You know why?
Yeah, they typically don't do well.
There you go.
But the business can still be started and the people still succeed. It's still a possibility. You can still start it with low risk and
But the
a low
likelihood is
income.
slim
No,
and
you
none.
can't. No, you can't. With art, you at least need to, number one, invest your time. Arts still have agents. You need to essentially be able to get out there so you can get exposure, so that you can get into art galleries.
And
No.
art supplies are
A
expensive.
lot of that you can do for free these days with social media
Art
or low
supplies are
cost with
expensive.
social
I can
media.
tell that you haven't advertised on social media if you're saying that.
What's
Yeah,
up?
it costs money to advertise on social media too,
No, it
friend.
doesn't. You could advertise right now, and
Even
we're
if
on a
you
free
build an
platform.
audience organically, that
Sure,
still takes time.
absolutely.
And again,
How are you gonna pay your
these
bills in the
liberal
meanwhile?
this is
You're
ridiculous.
gonna work.
How are you gonna have time to do
I'm
your
not saying you're
art?
gonna be successful right away, but you can start building, a side business while you're like on top of
Most
you
people are
working your
working
regular
Well,
job.
working 2 and 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. 1 in 5 children go to bed
I
without food every night.
genuinely feel this is like you just don't know how capitalism works.
Do you even
I
have a
feel like
job?
you guys don't.
Do you have a
I
job? Do
mean,
you have a job?
Jones, of course.
Where do you work?
Okay, now we're gonna get personal here.
No, why? Where do you
Jones,
work?
what
I
is
want to
your
know.
business?
What do you do?
Jones,
What do you do for a
what
job?
is your business? Like, how are you so
I have multiple
anti-capitalist,
businesses. Which
but you
one do you
have
want to know about?
all of them?
Okay, I own an apparel company. I own a home automation company. I write ad copy for a major health institution. You know what I'm saying? I also write freelance ad copy and freelance blogs for other industries. What else do you want to know about me? Oh, I also teach diversity and inclusion for government
Why
contractors.
are you so upset when I'm
I'm not a.
just
What are
having a
you talking
conversation
about?
with you about it?
I also teach diversity and inclusion. So, what else do you want to know?
No, just that was it.
Okay, so what do you do for
then
work?
are they successful businesses?
Yes,
Then why are you against capitalism?
because it doesn't work.
You just said that you have successful businesses. You said it
What is
worked.
your point? I don't have any employees. Because I don't believe in the subjugation of other people in order to make myself, you know what I'm saying, wealthy.
My point is, you've established something for yourself.
Yeah, I could do
And
these things
and
whether or
you
not
and you
capitalism existed. And if capitalism didn't exist, I probably wouldn't have to do a couple of them.
not
I
not
I
under
think
not
the
under
point. I think
communism.
the
I mean,
point that
if you're under
you
communism, you're not going to have that going for you.
You don't obviously don't know what communism is. You're just saying things because you saw it in the comments.
No, I'm not. I'm just
What is
telling the truth.
communism?
You wouldn't
What is
even have the
communism?
freedom to do
What is
so.
communism?
Isn't it essentially just the government's ownership
Nope.
over the
There's
means of
no government in
production?
communism. So
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
there's
Yes,
no,
it
it's not.
not.
There
is.
is no government in communism.
The
There's no government
government's
in communism.
control means or
There's
a dictator
no
or something like
government
that.
in
Yes.
communism.
Yeah, that's owning the means of production is socialism.
Correct.
Okay, they're pretty close to the same
Nope, they're
thing.
not. Not at all.
Okay, what's the difference?
Communism is a stateless, moneyless, classless society. Next question.
Yeah, I mean, good luck rolling with that.
Oh yeah,
That's
so
not
no,
an
good luck. Good
argument.
luck rolling with what existed in our civilization for tens of thousands of years
Isn't that
before
the same thing
capitalism.
that killed like 100 million people?
Nope, that's a lie.
Okay.
How many people have died due to capitalism because of poverty and hunger?
That part.
Like you realize that we have enough food production to feed 10 billion people on the earth, but that people who die because of hunger is simply because they don't have money. And this whole idea with capitalism that you are understanding is that it's a hierarchy, and essentially the top exploits the bottom. And you're saying that works, even though you're not on the top.
Right.
Yes, I believe that if I work hard enough, I can get there.
Okay. So you're telling me that most of society is just trash.
It's not a meritocracy.
Well, I think that
Even
a
if we
lot of them
look
make
at,
poor.
even
Yes, I
if
think
we
a lot
look
of them
at
make poor
who's on the
decisions.
top,
Yes, people have
even if
children far
we,
too early. People are reckless with their money. Yes, I think that majority of them, yeah, they don't make the greatest decisions.
even if we look at who's on top, 90% of the wealthy have inherited their wealth. So there is no merit in that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're going to become the most wealthy. I think that you just do well for yourself, like live a decent life, and not be enslaved under communism.
You are.
There's
I
no
mean, like,
there's no
you realize
government. So
that
who's going to enslave
capitalism
you?
is like inherently coercive, right? Like it coerces you into labor because you need monetary means to survive.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do anything in this country.
You do if you want to survive.
No, I mean, you could be a bum.
These are not arguments. What are you
It is. You
doing?
can. You have a
You
choice
can
to just
be
be
a
homeless.
bomb
You
is
could
not
you
a
could.
retort to what I just said.
I would
Like
rather have the choice to be homeless
you
than
have
to be in a
literally dropped
communist
every
country. I would
single
rather have the
point.
choice to
You
be
don't even know
You
what
have
homeless than be in a
communism
literally
is.
dropped
communist
every
country.
single point that Jones and I have brought up to show you that capitalism doesn't work. That 60% of people can't afford a $500 emergency, that 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, that 80% of Americans share 7% of the wealth. And you're
Could
saying this
could it
system works.
could it be
This system
possible that they're
works.
terrible with money?
All of them.
Could it be possible that the game that we are playing is rigged to favor some people and to
I,
not favor others?
I definitely think that's a part of it. I
Then
agree with
how,
you there.
if
But
you're saying, if you agree that the system is rigged, then how are you saying that this system works?
because there's still good parts of it, it doesn't make the entire thing bad.
What is the good parts of it?
The fact that you can do exactly what Mr. Jones did and open up multiple businesses and have something going for yourself.
No, they can't. Like literally, I have
Mr. Jones, other
advantages.
people
I
can
had
do what you did.
advantages that other people don't have.
Like
So that's
what?
not true.
Like what?
What do you mean?
You have advantages that other people don't have. Like what?
Yeah, like my parents could give me $250,000.
Okay, so you come from wealth.
I didn't, not necessarily.
Well, I think that other
I
people.
also
There's
was
so
able to go to
much.
college because I played basketball and I was really good at it.
There's so much that you ignore in this conversation. For you to say that capitalism is working because people have the ability to participate in capitalism, to me is just completely circular.
I mean, I
You
think it's a lot better than the
completely ignore.
alternatives.
Well, I think that's because you don't really know what the alternatives are. I really genuinely think this is just a lack of education.
Yeah,
Because when we
just to clarify, I don't think that $250,000 makes, you know what I'm saying, my parents wealthy. That's not wealth. You know what I'm saying? If we really are looking at it, you know what I'm saying, especially the fact that my parents, you know what I'm saying, are nearly seven, or my dad's 70 in his 70s and my mom is nearly 70, being able to give me $250,000, you know what I'm saying, because they literally worked themselves nearly to death. That's not wealthy. Like, and if you guys think that $250,000 is wealth, then I encourage you, you know what I'm saying, to like, well, not shit. Take $250,000 and see how long you actually last after having to pay, you know what I'm saying, for housing and raising 5 children, you know what I'm saying, and all of that the way that I did. $250,000 ain't shit. Like, y'all are.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll show you what you can do.
I
If it
think
ain't
you,
nothing, just
so one
send it
second.
my
I
way.
think you ignore so many other statistics and realities of capitalism. Again, your only thing, capitalism works because people have the ability to participate in capitalism as they see fit in one arena, sometimes occasionally. But I don't think you really have a critique on the vast appreciation and inflation of healthcare, housing, and education, with the incredible way that the wage has remained stagnant, that essentially the lower class and the extreme wealthy has become such huge wealth inequality that is creating such an imbalance. And I think you're very like borderline naive thinking that you can make these achievements.
Guys,
So
I quite literally said, hold on,
Simply
hold
by
on, hold on.
working,
if I make these
Cadence,
working
please
achievements,
hold on.
hard.
Kenzie,
Cadence,
if
please
I
hold
make
on.
these
Cadence,
achievements, then
please
did I
hold
do the
on.
impossible?
Cadence, can you please be quiet for
Will
a
you
second?
guys give me the props if I
Cadence,
do
can
it?
you please be quiet for a second? Why is this so hard for you?
It's hard for you. You're the one screaming.
I'm not screaming. I'm not even raising my voice.
You're
So
screaming
I,
at your
I
phone right now.
I'm not okay, whatever you say. I'm not gonna talk to your child. So listen, I specifically said I was privileged. Like, I don't understand what you guys aren't understanding about that. I specifically said I was privileged. I did not have to pay for college at all. I went to school on a basketball scholarship. And then, you know what I'm saying, when I went into the workforce to get and when I got my master's degree, my job paid for it. I literally never had to pay for college. And, you know what I'm saying, when I sold my house that I owned for, you know, nearly a decade, I made money off of that. And like I said, my parents had the ability to loan me, you know what I'm saying, money over the course of a 5 year span of $250,000. So I am very privileged. I'm very privileged. That's why I was able to do the things that I was able to do. Most people don't have those opportunities. Most people don't have those opportunities, quite literally. And so most people aren't going to be able to do what I did. And I still, you know what I'm saying, am not wealthy.
Then why not just go to one of these countries that has, I don't know, a better
I
setup for
think
you?
that's such like a weak argument that the fact that we want to be critical of the system that we live in and say that it can be better and that it isn't working for people, that we should just go live somewhere else. Why can't I care and say we can do better? We need to shift.
Yeah, because I mean, I still would argue that we were still one of the greatest countries ever. Like,
Based on
Based
what?
on
I
what?
don't want to
Based on what?
eliminate what's got us here.
Based on
Based on
what?
what?
Our freedom and just
We're
the
not we're
opportunity.
not even top 10 in the freedom index.
And what? There's 207 sovereign nations in the world. Like
Yes.
180 of them have freedom. The only thing that the United
Then
States is
why
number one in.
then why does everyone stay here? Why not?
Because
Like,
we
just take
destabilize
off.
other countries and then we paint this beautiful picture like America's this bastion of freedom and opportunity that
It
doesn't really
is.
exist.
It
It's
is,
But
bro.
it's
not.
not,
It is.
because we're not even top 10 in the
Bring
Freedom
that.
Index.
Nobody's stopping you. Nobody is stopping you from starting or doing whatever it is you want to do, bro.
You keep
Okay, you're
going back
you're
to
you're
this
you're
one
13.
talking point.
You're 13. I'm in my 40s, and you know better than me whether somebody's stopping me or not. Like, this is
I guess
absurd.
so. I mean,
No,
You
you,
who has
you
done
haven't
nothing.
said anything
how
concrete.
would you know if I've done anything or not?
I asked
Wait, wait,
you.
wait. I don't want to make this personal. You haven't really given any kind of foundation of argument other than kind of these generic, very vague statements. You have the ability to participate in the economy and you're
Mm-hmm.
free. But when we
Right.
look at like what the United States is number one in, we're in number one in incarcerated persons per capita. We're number one in defense spending, which we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, which I believe 25 of them are allies. If we even reduced our military budget by 3%, we literally could end US hunger. And you're up here listening to all these facts where
Mm-hmm.
most Americans can't afford an emergency, where most Americans live paycheck to paycheck, where it is not uncommon for children and for American families to go hungry, where a majority of people split 7% of 100% pie, and you're up here clapping American exceptionalism while we tell you we exploit the rest of the world. Like, is this really what's happening?
That I'm acknowledging the opportunity and freedom we have in the
That
USA.
you're
Yes.
We
clapping
don't
American
have
exceptionalism with all of these facts in your face.
Yeah.
you.
There's things that can be improved for sure. I don't think that
There's
means
things
that we
that
should
can be
eliminate
improved.
capitalism, though.
He's not listening at all, Kinsey. This is a waste of
All
time.
right.
We could talk about toxic
No, we can't.
masculinity.
We
Anything
can't
else?
because you don't. You're being disingenuous. You're not having an actual intellectually honest conversation.
We're not.
I'm
Oh,
not
and
being
we're number one
disingenuous.
in citizens per capita who believe angels exist. Those are the three things we're number one in. I think we're 55th in math.
Yeah,
I don't think
54%
we're.
of our adults can't read above a fifth grade reading level, but they're supposed to start a business.
I mean, you sound like
I
you're
don't
very
think we're
for the
top
people.
20 in
Why don't you help
education.
them out?
I do. I have a nonprofit.
Oh, this is good. You're doing well.
That's not it. That's not addressing the critique. Like I don't know. Is this just how can you be so deliberately obtuse to where when we present you with this facts, you just kind of
Because it's not the world that I've experienced.
Oh, so you're
Like
privileged.
I haven't been
but it's
limited
reality. It
from
is
doing any like
reality. So you
I've
literally
always
are
been
just
So
able
because it's not
unaware.
his reality, it doesn't
I've
exist
I've
for the so he doesn't care
I've
because it's not his
always been
reality.
able to get a job. I've always been able to work more hours. I've always been able to buy what I want if I had enough money. Like I don't understand like
Do
why
Buy
you
you
what
have
guys
you
any
are
want
acting
if
like
you
children
it's
have enough
or a
money.
family?
Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
this is ridiculous.
and if I don't, I don't. But like it's pretty simple. It's like no one's holding me back from doing that. But
No,
besides
you're just not
myself,
aware. You're just not aware of it.
What do you do for a job, Cadence?
I'm debating you.
Okay.
You're
Do
not
you
you're not
Yeah, you're
debating.
not
You're just
debating.
restating
Debating
it
means that
over
you
and
have
over.
facts and are able to
I'm done.
substantiate.
I'm
Yeah,
done.
like I promise you he still lives at home with his parents.
I think I remember him now. It's funny that he talks about masculine men because he has his nails painted.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Hello, welcome.
Hello. So what you guys are talking about communism and what was it?
We weren't talking about communism. He was talking about communism. We never
We
once
were
mentioned
talking
communism.
about how capitalism doesn't work, but if you want to talk about one of these topics up here,
Okay, so on your stance on abortion, like what are you talking about abortion? Are you talking about like health risks or just all abortion in general?
yeah. So if I were to define abortion, it would be the deliberate termination of pregnancy, and I think someone can have access to have their pregnancy terminated.
Even if both the mother and the baby are completely 100% healthy?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I think it's unethical to force someone to sustain pregnancy against their will.
Even
And the human
though
agrees with it.
both parties initiated, I don't know if I can say the word on TikTok, and we want to get you banned or me banned for a day or so, but did
Are you talking about
extracurricular
intercourse?
activities. Yeah,
Yeah, just because someone can voluntarily participated in intercourse, I don't think that that means they surrender their rights to their body.
but you know the risks of doing it.
Sure, you know the risks
So,
of doing a lot of things, and yet
You
we
know the
still
risks
do
of
and
them.
driving. You know you can get in a
yeah,
car accident if you drive, right?
well, yeah,
You still do it, don't you?
that's totally
I mean, I
different.
see your big old truck.
Why is that different?
It's just different. I don't get how that's the same because that's literally you're making a human life.
Are you consenting to get into a car accident?
No one can sense to get into a car accident.
But it is a possibility, though, right?
It's a possibility,
Oh, okay.
but there's many different ways
Again, like
to
if
not
you
get
were to
pregnant.
get into a car accident and let's just say that led to someone needing a kidney, and for argument's sake you happen to be a match because you voluntarily got into the car and because you were aware that there was a possible risk of you possibly injuring someone, have you now surrendered the right to your kidney?
No,
Then I don't know why you wouldn't be able to apply that principle to pregnancy.
because you're literally creating a human life.
Not a life, it ain't born.
It's
um
still it's a heartbeat. I know
Again,
that's
I don't feel that's not an argument to say how someone now has surrendered the rights to their body.
And why is a
because
man who doesn't have a uterus, I'm assuming, and sorry if I misgendered you or you do actually have a uterus, I will apologize ahead of time. But why is you as a man, why are you concerned about what a woman does with their body? I'm
there's
just,
millions of other women that have the same beliefs as me. I know there's
yeah,
millions of
they can
men
make a
and women
decision.
that
And great, guess what? Guess what? If they don't want an abortion, they don't have to get one. Everybody wins. You win, they win.
still. So let me ask you this:
It's
what
still
is the
nothing. It, it's
what's
still
the
nothing.
cutoff? What's your cutoff? Is it up into birth, 1 to 6 months?
I think if someone wants to terminate pregnancy, they can do so at any time. However, post 22 weeks, I think that we can obviously prioritize the fetus's life, therefore perform a hysterectomy abortion or an induction abortion that doesn't result in the death of the fetus, given they can survive outside the womb.
Okay, I do agree with that as well. I do
Also,
agree there are
just something
some
you could do, friend. A Thorny, this is something you could do, right? Hey, look, if you're about to engage in intercourse with a woman, you should probably ask her these questions before you engage in intercourse. Like, hey, if you happen to get pregnant, right? Even though we're going to take precautions because we don't want a child right now, but if you happen to get pregnant, what do you intend to do? And then you can make a decision. You know what I'm saying? Before you do that, so like before you put a girl in the back seat of that big old truck, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you ask them questions. That's all.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I had a kid at 18, 19 years old too.
Okay.
And I'm 30 now.
Um,
But
what? Okay.
um so now your other one, sex ed K through 12. Why do you
Wait,
think kids
are we
should?
done with abortion? Do you
Yeah, well,
concede on that one?
sure, but
Okay.
sex ed through K through 12, like
Yeah.
explain your position on that.
So I think sex ed is most effective when we take a multi-grade and scaffolding approach. The ultimate goal would be to have child abuse, sex prevention, appreciation of sexual diversity, how to maintain healthy relationships, dating and intimate partner violence, understanding of gender. And it shows within a 30-year study that early scaffold and multi-grade approaches produce the best outcomes, so that essentially we would be able to see a reduction in child abuse, less unwanted teen pregnancy, therefore reducing abortion, healthier relationships within teen relationships as well as adults, which reduce domestic violence, and then also less systemic violence towards the LGBTQ community.
So you're not talking about sex in general, like teaching young kids about sex,
Why do you all think this?
because that's like the number one thing that's been being brought up right now.
Yeah, by conservative
No.
media.
No one wants to teach kindergartners about sexual intercourse. Like, I don't know why so many of you just think this. Like, it baffles my mind.
Because when you think about sex education, especially when
We
we
don't
were
think
growing
about
up,
that. We don't think about that. So don't say when you think about sexual education. When you think about sexual education, not us. We don't think about that. It's weird to think about talking about intercourse with little kids. That's very odd.
I agree. But when sex ed was being brought up, especially when I was in fifth or sixth grade, that's what it was about. It was like how to protect yourself. It was not brought up to like look out for the signs of anything like that. It was how
It
to.
doesn't matter. What else should I call it?
I don't know. That's something
Okay.
that's well above my pay grade.
If I was to teach you about your anatomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're a male or a female, right?
Uh-huh.
Or a boy or a girl, what would I be teaching you about?
Just about your basic anatomy, the two genders, and everything
Sex.
like that.
Your
Sexes.
sex.
Two
Your
sexes,
sex.
not genders. Sexes.
Genders.
No, not genders. Genders aren't gender
You
nor sex are binary, but
you can't make up genders within the last 5 years when there's
no,
been
you don't make
millions
them
of
up.
years.
Gender's always been bimodal, friend. Do you know what bimodal means?
Explain.
Okay, so like you necessarily, unless you have been karyotyped, do not know what your chromosomal makeup is. So the thought that you are just XX or XY is not the case. You can be XX, XY, XYY, XXY. I mean, there's a lot of variations in that, right? And so you can fall on one of the two extremes, which are the modes. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's XX or XY, or you can be some variance in between. And this has existed since the dawn of human existence, okay? It also exists, you know what I'm saying, all throughout the animal kingdom. So, with that being said, gender is a neurosocial construct. It is something that we made up. In most indigenous cultures, there wasn't even words for genders. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that is relatively new to our society in terms of the broad scope of human existence. So both sex and gender are somewhat fluid. They're a spectrum. And how you choose to present, you know what I'm saying, socially, is based on a variance of things. You know, your SRY gene, what your chromosomal makeup is, how your brain, how your brain develops. Like quite literally, it's based on a variance of different things. So there's not just two sexes. And there's not necessarily just two genders. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but those are the facts.
How?
So I think
There's
comprehensive
no
sex education kind of
facts on.
really
I'm literally looking it up right now, and all of
there
the
are tons
results
of facts on that.
I'm looking,
The
and all it's showing
national
it XX or XY and XX.
the
Okay.
There's nothing
national
that shows. There's
the national
what?
genome study. The national genome study um has actually a great did I say that right? Let me go here. Actually has a great infographic. So the SRY gene is typically found on the Y chromosome. And if it stays on the Y chromosome, then essentially the fetus or embryo will develop testes and a penis. However, it can jump to the X chromosome, and in that case, it'll form female genitalia. So there can be females that have
Mm-hmm.
an XY chromosomal structure, which we see is typically dominant in males. So with the 5 sex
Which is
characteristics,
very
what
rare.
James is saying, it doesn't red hair is rare. which Jones is saying, and it's actually more common than you think.
It's more common than redheads.
I actually had a biology teacher in college who used to do karyotyping for your chromosomes and had so many students that found out their chromosomal structure was not typically aligned with what we think sex is related to, that he had to stop doing the assignment because so many kids got upset. So yes, it actually isn't as rare as you think it is.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any of these studies.
Then you're not looking. I gave you the
I am.
national show. Do you know what a vulva is?
Yes,
What is it?
is what women have inside
In,
their
inside their what?
vagina.
Can you be a little more specific?
Like where it's at?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, where is it at?
I don't get it's like the whole thing.
What do you mean?
It's the outer part of the
Well, you
vagina.
just said it was inside the vagina. Now you're
I
saying
made a
it's the
mistake.
outer part?
It's the outer part.
Mm. I'm glad you Google it.
Okay, so what does it have to do with the price of bread? What does vulva have to do with the price of bread?
My point is that when we talk about this subject, that you have very little understanding. The vulva is a very generic female body part,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't know what it was.
You just said female.
Correct.
So which is it? Is there? Because apparently a man can have one too, supposedly. So
Well, yeah,
why do you
sex
guys keep
and
going
gender are
back
two different
between?
things. Sex and gender are two different things. You can
Is
be a
it?
man and have female anatomy. Yes.
So how can
I
a
thought
man get
Jones
pregnant?
explained that very well.
How can a man get pregnant? A man cannot get pregnant.
That's not
Trans
well.
men
That's
can
not
get pregnant.
necessarily so. Somebody can be chromosomal male, and still have a uterus and still get pregnant. If you don't believe me, look up EWA 1967 Olympics. Just Google it real quick. She was chromosomally male, but she had a uterus, fallopian tubes, the whole nine, and they tested her, said she was chromosomally male, stripped her of her titles and her records, and then the very next year she gave birth.
And trans men, yes, can get pregnant. They
Correct.
have female anatomy, but they are a man.
Wait, who is this again?
EWA.
EWA?
1967 Olympics.
I would like to thank Cheryl for the Venmo. Thank you for noticing I'm sick and being so generous. You are a doll.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you earlier, but I didn't want to assume. But like now that we're getting later, I know that you're coughing more.
Yeah, I forgot to take my second zinc pill, but yeah, I've been popping zinc like TikToks. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
He's still trying to prove me wrong.
So I'll read, but banned churches not drag queens.
Oh, no, hold on. We just gonna move on. We just gonna keep jumping from topic to topic because it didn't fit what you were trying to say.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, churches are really unsafe for kids.
Especially Catholic ones.
Catholic ones have definitely been advertised, and I mean, but I would say Mormon, Protestant, even like Baptist. It seems to be a common theme.
Agreed. But I don't agree with what the videos out there, drag queens parading around and dancing in front of kids taking dollar
There's no
bills
video.
like they're at a strip club.
Where did that happen?
When did that happen?
Yeah.
It happens all the time. I see it popping up on Facebook, on Twitter. Look it up. You
On
tell me,
Fox
look it up.
News.
No, not on Fox News. I don't follow Fox News.
Drag queens getting tips from toddlers. Is that what I would Google?
Toddlers or kids?
So New York Post comes up, which is a tabloid. Daily Mail comes up, which is another tabloid.
And you can even look it up on the Hodge twins on their Twitter account for Only Offensive.
Bro, do you think these are reliable news sources?
Thank you for
actual
the
video. There's videos of it.
Okay. Do you think these are actual news sources? You're saying it happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Pretty much all the time. Every single time that you see when he's going around, there's always videos of these kids and these half-naked people in front of these kids giving them money and them twirling around and pretty
all
much
the time.
Nothing.
What do you think about like kids going to Hooters?
At least they're more covered up than some of that.
How many drag shows you been to?
They're not dancing.
How many drag shows you been to?
Oh, they're not dancing.
They're not dancing.
I see. What if they're going to?
They're not
like
shaking their ass in front of kids. They're not.
Have you ever been to a drag show?
What about like a football game? What about like a football game with like the cheerleaders?
Are they grabbing their asses and?
You ever been to the beach? You ever been to the beach?
Yeah, that is dependent on the parents on what their children look at. So what's the difference between parents taking their kids to go see that and someone taking their...
Are they your kids? Are they your kids?
No.
Oh, okay. I probably wouldn't worry about it.
I looked up what you asked. Wait. I looked up what you asked. And the only YouTube video comes up is like one where drag queens were at a restaurant and like the kid handed them $1. They didn't like put it in their G-string or anything, and it wasn't even like a sexualized dance.
What do you normalize that with though? Handing someone $1 bill. What do you normalize that?
I don't know what kind of stuff that you're into, buddy.
I didn't say it was
people money all the time.
I just said
I gave somebody some cash for some food earlier today.
Yeah, no kidding. But when you're handing him $1 bill, what do you normally hand $1? Do you normally tip your servers $1?
I mean,
sure. When I was a bartender, I got tipped $1 all the time.
Yeah, I was about to say same. When I was a bartender in college, people tipped me dollars all the time.
Yeah, but what are they doing to get a tip? Just dancing?
They're performing. They're performing.
Performing what?
A task. You know those 18 coins that you got in there right now. Did you have to take your clothes off to get those?
See, this is the thing. This is the thing I think like a lot of conservatives do is they sexualize the LGBTQ community.
No, they're sexualizing themselves. There's a lot of people on the
LGBT
Have you ever been to a drag show?
that do not promote this. There's a
lot of drag show.
No, and I don't plan on going because
so then you have you have no frame of reference. You have no personal frame of reference for what a drag show is.
I just see what I see on the social media and don't agree with it. And it's pretty much 90% of the time. I don't have a problem with the LGBT community at all. I have a relative that is lesbian, and I had an uncle who was gay and passed away. And I have a couple friends who are gay themselves. And a lot of them, especially a lot of social medias that I follow, they do not agree. They don't think this is the new norm in the right direction for the LGBT community.
Oh, Jones is gone?
Dealey.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
but what I was saying is that a lot of
Yes,
the people.
my other
Oh,
phone, my other phone that I was on was dying, and it glitched me
Oh,
out.
okay.
Um, yeah,
so
my man just was while you were gone, he was tokenizing his gay family members and friends.
and
Oh no.
a lot of
Yeah, I
them,
know.
they don't support the way that the LGBT community is going right now.
It's okay. They're not the LGBTQIA plus community is not a monolith, so that's fine. They don't have to support it.
No, and they don't agree with sexualizing kids and shaking their
Nobody's
butts in front of
sexualizing
their kids.
kids. Nobody's sexualizing kids.
I actually think like heterosexual parents sexualize their kids more.
In some ways, yeah, and it's disgusting, equally as disgusting.
But I think overall like the right does this because they kind of have views of like modesty. And I think they have an obsession with like purity as well as like sex culture because people's bodies and what they wear is not what it is like here in America. America has the strangest obsession with people's bodies.
Agreed.
Y'all keep throwing them coins. I might take my shirt off.
No. So, yeah, I don't think your claim really stands.
It doesn't. He said all the time. I looked it up. I couldn't find a single video, but he said it's
Yeah,
happening all the
and I
time.
mean, Twitter and YouTube really aren't great sources. Did you have anything else?
I mean, if you want to get into the systemic
Yeehaw!
racism part,
You don't want to do that.
I'll do
That's up to Jones.
Sure, but it's not going to go well.
it. So, how do you feel that the system is racist?
Where you want me to start?
Anywhere.
I mean,
Okay.
and sorry, Jones, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If we're just going to talk like in like vague general points, I would say we could look at systems like the judicial system, the education system, the healthcare system, as well as the housing system, and see that Black people have disproportionate outcomes.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
But where are they mostly disappointed at? Like, what are the locations?
What do you mean? Where the locations? Like
The high,
literally?
the high crime rates, everything like
Ooh.
that.
Okay. So let's talk about the crime rates, right? What crime rates specifically do you want to talk about? Where do you want to start with that?
Any crime rate.
The what?
We could talk about murder, robberies,
Yep. White people commit all of
murder,
those crimes.
robberies.
Thank you, guys. White people commit all those crimes at a higher rate.
Yes, correct.
So why wouldn't we talk about them?
We're talking about crime rates in general.
What does that have to do with systemic racism, Frank?
How
So
is it
when
then?
we
How's
talk
the
about
system systemic?
race, if we can see that the high crime rates between white people and Black people are equal, I don't know what point you're trying to make with that.
So, but how? Say that again.
What is your point?
Yeah, okay. I'm
So
just
how is
don't even worry about it. Hey, listen,
the system
that's fine.
racist
I
then?
got you. I got you, Anthony, or whatever your name is, A Thorny. All right. So listen, in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was written, right? But slaves weren't free for like another 2 years, and then directly after that, they implemented in the South what are called Jim Crow laws. In addition to the Jim Crow laws, they had black codes and the introduction of trespassing and the trespassing laws and the trespassing sign. Why were these implemented? Well, white landowners were now faced with a new problem. They had to pay for labor, right? And
Mhm.
so they didn't want black people to be able to acquire land or to be able to homestead on any land where they could grow or forage for food, forcing them back onto the plantations so that they would have to rely on those very same slave owners in order to feed their families and have housing, right?
Hmm.
So this lasted, these black codes and Jim Crow's laws lasted for 100 or yeah, like 90 years. 90 years. So then after 90 years, 90 years of that, we had segregation. And
Hmm.
segregation lasted for 65 years. My parents were born in that time. Okay. So after that time, we had 35 years of state sanctioned redlining, meaning that black people couldn't purchase properties in neighborhoods where the value of their home would grow up and they
But
would
what
have.
does that have to do with
So
now?
I'm going to explain.
What?
I'm going to explain
Okay.
it to you. I'm going to explain it to you. Where the value of their home would increase and they would have equity. And what does equity give you? The ability to borrow against your home and create generational wealth by purchasing other properties or being able to send your children to school and things of that nature. Now, while all of these things are going on, we had the '94 crime bill and we also had the war on drugs, which both of those things affected minority citizens.
And who
Great.
sponsored that '94 crime bill?
It doesn't matter. That has
He's your
nothing to do
president
with
right now.
nothing. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The whole system is racist. So you're just making my point. Thank you. So it doesn't matter which side of the
The
fence it's on.
Democrats are
It's all the same.
racist.
It doesn't matter. Yep.
You're
Great.
welcome.
Yep. Sure are. I agree
My
with you. 100%.
God. Do you have Fox News on in the background?
Yeah. It doesn't
No,
matter.
I
They're
don't
all
watch Fox
racist.
News.
I agree with you. Yep. They are. Sure are. Yeah. So with that being said, right? Um, Imagine playing a game of Monopoly, right? And when you start the game of Monopoly, you say, "Hey, look, I'm going to need you to sit out for 250 rounds. You're just going to have to sit there and watch me play for 250 rounds." And then I'm going to say, "Hey, you can play, but all you're allowed to do, you know what I'm saying, is take your piece and set it in jail for the next 90 years or the next 90 rounds. And then for the rounds after that, for the next 60 rounds, you know what I'm saying? You can go around the board and collect your $200, but you're only allowed to buy property in Baltic Avenue. That's it.
Hmm.
Like just that first strip. That's the only place that you can buy you know what I'm saying, property, right? And
Hmm.
that's for the next 60 rounds. Okay? Now I'm saying now after I've bought up all the property, built hotels on it, you know what I'm saying, taken all the money out of the bank. Now I say, okay, now you can play like the rest of us. Now you can play like the rest of us.
Yeah, I agree. It
Will, will you ever be
was.
able to get out? Will you ever be able to win that game?
It's possible.
No, it's not.
It's
Literally
possible.
impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
You
Wow.
you must not have played Monopoly. So I think again this just might be a lack of like
And you know,
understanding how the system works. So like Joan says, if we look at specifically redlining, like do you know how public schools are funded?
yeah, it's your tax dollars.
Yeah. So if
What
you're
specific tax?
homeowners,
Yeah, homeowner.
Yeah, so property tax. So if you have a community that doesn't have high property values and you have been redlined into that community, then
yep.
you're going to have schools that aren't adequately funded, which means that you are going to be essentially in an education system that is not uh, beneficial to you.
And that's why we agreed to end those zonings because it's
It still
harmful
goes
We
on.
to
haven't
low
we
income.
haven't actually agreed to end those zonings. Single family housing is actually still a zoning that's currently instituted today. And you have to acknowledge that redlining still has effects it has today.
Yeah, and you also know that they purposely build highways, water treatment facilities, trash dumps, and things of that nature in minority communities to keep the property values down.
I don't see that where I'm from.
It happens all
But
across America.
So when it comes to Black families, the average wealth with Black families is around $9,000, where with white families it's $171,000. So we can even see a huge wealth disparity in terms of generational wealth between Black families and white families.
what do you mean 100,000 and 9,000? Like, what do you?
171,000. It's the average wealth that a white family has compared to the average wealth that a Black family has. whether that is
Okay,
in
how is that showing that the system is racist?
I just explained to you all of the history behind how that happened.
And do you know what?
Thank you,
Your
Parker.
Democrats are voting for the
We don't
same
care.
exact.
We don't care. It doesn't
This is
matter.
not.
That's
Yes,
not a
This is
gotcha
wait, wait,
moment.
wait,
it
wait,
does
wait,
matter. You're
boys.
bringing it
No,
up.
no, it doesn't. Because you think we are Democrats. We are not
It's not.
Democrats.
We don't
This
care.
is not a Democrat conservative argument.
I
We're
know,
way
but
farther left than that. We are communists.
no,
So
that's
we
even
don't care
worse.
what
You don't know what
random
communism
Fox
is.
News talking point you have to disparage the Democrats.
We
The
don't care.
Democrats are too conservative for us. We don't like them. So that's not the argument. The argument is that the current systems within the American structure, whether that is social, economic, or political, have outcomes that are disadvantageous to the Black community.
Yeah. In 2016, and you can look this up, the Shelby versus Holder, it's a Supreme Court case. In 2016, they gutted the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which required pre-clearance before any state could change their voting laws or their voting registration laws. You know what I'm saying? Especially in states that were known to have racial discrimination when it came to voting rights. Well, because they got rid of pre-clearance in 2016, because they got rid of pre-clearance, over 1,000 polling locations have been closed across America, and all of them are in minority communities. All of them in marginalized communities. All of them in marginalized communities to try to keep Black people from voting on issues specifically like these.
Yeah, even if we look at voting in general, voting is typically a right that is taken away from felons. And we can see that the
Yes.
Black community is disproportionately affected when it comes to the criminal justice system.
Why should someone who either murdered, stole?
You don't have to be a murderer to have a felony, friend.
Well, no, but
I think actually voting is your only absolute right. I don't care if you're on death row, you should be able to vote.
why you shouldn't have any rights when you're in prison.
You should,
Why
because
shouldn't you?
then
You're still a citizen, aren't you?
yeah, you're very much a person. You're still a citizen. And if we actually gave prisoners the right to vote, then they would be a community that politicians actually cared about. When you take away
What are they doing
what
to improve society though? They're
you
not paying
realize
taxes.
that these
Okay.
that
We
these
are
the
literally
Hold
paying
prison
on,
for the
Kenzie. I got
industrial
it. I got it, Kenzie. I got it.
okay,
So
okay.
Black people use and sell drugs at a lower percentage than white people do, but they're 5 times more likely to be arrested for it and 10 times more likely to be convicted of it. And when they are convicted, they serve longer sentences. But you know what else happens? Black people are also more likely to be exonerated. The exoneration rate for Black people in the prison system, like 50%, or Black people are 50% more likely to be exonerated from the crime, meaning that they were falsely arrested and falsely convicted in the first place.
goes back
And
to the
it takes
94 crime bill.
can I please finish without you cutting me off? And it on average takes 13 years longer for a Black person that's been exonerated to actually be released from prison.
So, my point is that I wanted to make with voting is that when you take away voting from a certain community, they become marginalized to where their voice doesn't matter. And even if someone is incarcerated, they are still a human being, and they should not be subject to where their voice doesn't matter within the system that they are in.
Well, in my opinion, if you commit a crime and you're in jail for that crime, doesn't matter how light or how serious you
But if
lose that
we
right
can't
until
even
you're
make
able to get it
certain
back.
that all those people are actually guilty, then we're disenfranchising 72 million American citizens.
And those people who are cleared are let go and dropped. The charges are dropped. No,
After 13, 14, 15 years?
yeah, most
Jones,
likely. But
maybe you know, who is that Black kid that was accused of a crime, like in the subway station of New
Oh,
York and
you're talking
actually
about the
spent,
book bag. Yeah, you're talking about the book bag in
yeah,
Rikers Island.
he actually spent 2 years in Rikers Island before
And
he
never was even
even went
charged.
to trial. And
wasn't he the one that like he killed himself or he was killed in prison,
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
he killed
Yeah,
himself after he was found that he wasn't
Khalif Browder
even.
is his name. Khalif Browder.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was someone that was held in Rikers without even being convicted of a crime. This is someone just awaiting either to see a judge or go to trial.
yeah, that sucks. But it
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
kind
sucks.
of all
You see how
sucks.
my
easily he just
God.
brushed it off? Bro, like you're just full of bad takes, aren't you? You don't have an empathetic bone in your body, huh?
What else am I supposed to say? Oh, it's sad. Yeah, it's sad.
Bro, that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
Yeah. No. If it was your
But
child, would you say, man,
how does
that sucks? If it was your child, would you say, man, that sucks? And move on?
I would
So callously? Thank you.
Yeah, so he was held in Rikers Island between 2010 and 2013 for allegedly stealing a a backpack containing valuables.
Look about how
He
long he
was
was in solitary
he
confinement.
was in solitary
yeah,
confinement for 700 days for
and
something he didn't even do. Even if he did do it for stealing a book bag, like come on.
you're gonna blame that on racism though.
Wow.
I bet you there's hundreds of stories of that happening to every single race out there.
Okay, give
You
me one on
don't
a white
Give me
you
person.
one.
don't hear
Give
about
me
you
one.
Give,
don't hear about it.
Give me
me one.
one.
Wait. Give me one on a white person.
Give me one.
You can't find one because
Oh, yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a huge story because
Then why would
they're
you
white.
make that claim?
I said I bet you. I bet.
Why do you bet me? Why do you bet me that that is true if it's something that you can't
Because
substantiate and prove?
it's a narrative that the media goes for because
It's
it's
a
a
Oh.
hot
narrative
topic.
that you want to be true, that there is no prejudice
No,
based on race.
there isn't. What can
Are
someone
you
who is
Oh,
familiar?
yeah, I
black,
Are
got you.
you
I
Hispanic,
got I
Chinese
got you. I
that
got you.
can
I got
tell me
you.
one
Yeah,
thing?
that's easy.
Tell me.
That's easy. That's easy. Guess what? What's your last name, friend?
Why does that matter?
What's your last name? You can
It
just
don't
make up
matter.
one. Where'd you get your last name from?
Grandparents from I don't know what other country they came
Right?
from.
So you got your last name from your dad. He got it from his dad. He got it from his dad. He got it from his dad.
Yeah,
Guess where I got my last name from?
where?
Slave owner.
Okay,
Oh, okay. So I can't trace my history back. Not me personally, but most black people wouldn't be able to trace their history back past 1870. It's called the 1870 block. You can look it up if you'd like to. Most white people in America can trace their history back at least 12 generations. Why is that important? Because they can pass on traditions. They can pass on, you know what I'm saying, achievements in history. They can pass on, you know what I'm saying, their family name, heritage, culture, a variety of things. Black people quite literally had to create their own culture in the United States. Here's another thing: you can openly practice your religion however you want to and also force it on other people. But black and indigenous people, when we try to practice what is our spirituality and what our beliefs are, is looked upon as witchcraft. Matter of fact, to the point where they put, you know what I'm saying, indigenous children into schools and literally beat their spirituality and their culture and their names out of
is that
them.
still going on
And then,
now?
friend, do you understand? Do you understand that,
I'm
like,
asking. Is it
do you
going on right
understand that
now? You're saying it exists.
my parents went to
It
segregated
exists. Does
schools?
it?
My dad was born on the same plantation as his father and his father before him. They were sharecroppers. Like I don't understand why you think that this was so long ago. This was not that long ago. And
Are
through epigenetics, we know that there's genetic markers attached to our DNA that quite literally pass on trauma. And so it's not just the trauma of watching yourself be hurt, but it's a trauma of watching dogs being sicked on your parents, or fire hoses being turned on them, or walking home from school and seeing somebody hang in a tree, or the KKK burning across in your field. And not only do you see it, but you see it on the news and it's everywhere around you. But guess what else you have the privilege to do, right? You can go to school and learn that everything that ever happened in this country was white as a default. Our forefathers were white. All the scientists and explorers were white. All the artists, all the composers, all the everything that you can think of, your teachers, the school counselor, the school resource officer, the principal, everybody white, every single one of them. And there's no representation for black children outside of 1 month where they tell you Martin Luther King said, "Can't we all just get along?" And then you can wear our hairstyles, you know what I'm saying, and be called trendy and edgy and fashionable, you know what I'm saying? And if we wear our hairstyles, we're dirty and unkept and unprofessional. Like, come on, bro. You don't ever have to walk out your house and worry about fitting anybody's motherfucking description. Ever.
Have you ever seen a white person dreadlocks? It is nasty.
Yes, yeah, he missed. All right. Bye, bro.
Are you familiar with the Veil of Darkness study?
No, but what does that have to do with today?
Yeah, so this was a study that was done between 2011 and 2018. It analyzed 95 million traffic stop records that were filed by officers within 21 state parole agencies and 35 municipal police forces. And it showed that Black people were disproportionately pulled over at a higher rate during the day, but essentially when night fell, that they were pulled over at the same rate. Why do you think that is?
Well, does it tell you the reason they were pulled over?
I would like you to answer my question before I tell you the question.
I just want to point out that black people only make up like 14% of the population. I just want to point that out.
Exactly.
Yeah, so again, this is 90, and again, let me just restate it here. So Black people were pulled over at a higher rate only during the day. At night, the rate became equal among races. Can you tell me why you think that is?
No clue.
It's because after sunset, cops essentially couldn't racially profile because they can't see the race of the individual in the car.
And a lot of street racing happens at night. I hear it up and down my street every single day.
Oh my God,
That
bro.
doesn't
You
matter.
can't
That doesn't
possibly
matter.
Tell me
Because
what
the
were they
rates,
pulled over?
stop.
What was
These are traffic stops, not
for
drag
what?
racing stops.
For
It
pulled over for
doesn't
what?
matter. It doesn't
It does
matter what
matter.
this. It
It does
doesn't
matter.
because it
It
doesn't
So
does.
people are
because
street racing all over the United States, all the time at night. That's what you're telling me?
That's when it mostly happens.
Okay. Yep. You're an idiot.
you are not even recognizing the basic core of this study is that at nighttime the rate is the same. The rate is the same with white people being pulled
Okay,
over and Black
tell
people
me
being pulled over.
in the study,
Only at night.
what were they pulled over for? What was it for?
What
Speeding?
does
Was it
that
for
matter?
illegal license?
What does that matter? Give me
That matters a
why.
whole lot. That matters
Then
a
Kenzie,
tell
whole
me
lot.
why.
Kenzie, knock,
Tell me
knock.
why you want to know.
Kenzie, knock, knock.
Matters a whole lot.
Thank you, Jennifer. I am gonna give this to Jones. Jennifer donated $30 to kick the client. Sorry, guys. To kick the guest.
She's talking about, yes, well, that's what I thought. No, bro, like, that was the most. Listen, please clip this and send it to me for the love of God. There's no way in the world that anybody can literally be that willfully ignorant. Like, if I was a drinker, I'd be drinking right now.
I'm gonna give the $30 to Jones because it feels wrong for me to keep it. I know I'm not at work, y'all.
Like,
Do you
oh
want to
my
do one more,
God.
Jones?
Probably not, man. It's like almost 2:00 in the morning for me. I'm
Damn.
through. That was absolutely absurd. That was just absurd.
That was ridiculous.
Like, I literally broke it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, he damn near got a sociology's degrees worth of information just now. And if he still doesn't get it, I have a shit ton of videos that you can go watch that'll explain it. What were they pulled over for? As if that has some relevance.
95 million traffic stops. Like, do you realize like the vastness of that study? How much data that is?
Like, I don't even understand. What were they pulled over for? During the day, driving while black. At night, didn't really matter. Probably traffic violations.
I'm sorry, that's not funny. I'm just laughing because you're laughing.
Oh, that's my bad, y'all. That's right. They were all street racing.
It's 95 million. 95 million traffic stops. And I don't know what at all that could do for your argument. Like, it does nothing for your argument. If I say it's for running a stop sign, then what? Are you just going to say black people have a hard time seeing red?
Right. We're all colorblind. Didn't you know that? Lord have mercy. Like, I don't even understand. I don't even understand. Yeah, black people only street race during the day.
Well, how are you going to see?
You can't prove that they were racially profiled. Yes, you can. We explained during the day, black people were pulled over at a higher rate. At night, it leveled out. That proves it by itself. That was the purpose of the study. Jesus Christ. What difference does it make what they were pulled over for at night?
Is this person here? Hello, welcome.
They're muted.
Hi.
You say hello and I
Okay,
say
it makes a huge difference. Okay, they were pulled over for mooning the police officers. That's what. Broken tail lights. Not having glass in their windows.
Hello.
hello.
How are you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I just wanted some more information on the systemic racism topic you guys were talking about.
Were you not here? Were you here for like?
No, I
You
just
were.
got here at the end.
Okay.
What did you want?
Just more information on what you guys were talking about, like a summary or whatever.
Systemic racism exists. That's it. That's the summary. That's it. That's all.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna head out though.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think this is a good place to call it.
Right.
Thank
I
you.
love you guys. I love you guys dearly. Thank you for all the gifts. Drink your water, protect your peace, take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health, Kenzie.
Thank you.
Eat as healthy as you can, and as always, stay dangerous. And for all of you, never mind. I'm not gonna be too mean. Hey, look, some of y'all, and I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, the ones that I love and adore, but some of y'all need to be in the link in my bio, sending me Cash Apps or Venmos or PayPals for all of this education I just gave y'all, because damn it, man. Like, shit is craziness. How can people in the self-purported uh greatest country in the world be so ignorant, man?
Because they want it to not be true.
Like I said, I have a whole bunch of videos about it. Like, uh, you know, go ahead and check them out.
Thank you, Tommy. Because it's just like, like I asked him, like, if I told him it was for like 20 different types of traffic violations, whether that's not having a tail light, not having, running a stop sign,
Where could you go
running
with
a
that
red light,
information?
like, yeah, what would that do? That wouldn't do anything for your argument.
Like, especially when you're coming from people who like, we do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, debating is what we do. There's literally nowhere you could go with that. Nowhere. They got pulled over for driving with their feet. Oh, you don't like my tone? Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, no,
listen.
right. He kept saying you were yelling, like you weren't
No.
even.
This guy, the guy who just jumped out, said he didn't like my tone. So here, look, I apologize, friend. If you DM me, my box is open. Shoot me a DM with like your address or PO box, and I'll send you a box of tissue. The good stuff too, the kind with the lotion in it. I got you. I'm your guy.
With that aloe vera kind, that's like the best.
Yes, the
Oh,
best. I
let's
will
rip.
send you the best kind. I'll send you the best kind of tissue.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for liking, for watching, for gifting, for donating. I appreciate you. Once I log off, I will go ahead and download the footage from tonight, and I will upload it to the YouTube.
Thank
Um,
you.
and then I will clip a couple things from here, and put it on my main account, which my main account is just Miss_Kenzie. Just drop the two. And yeah, let's
Whoever
do a
just
raid.
cash apped me, y'all are the best. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jonesy, for joining. I feel it was like is this our first Kenzie Jones
We
debate?
no we have before, but it's been months. It was like back like last November, probably before I left, like right before I left.
Oh yeah, I remember that because you
Yeah.
were we on Joe Bon's live? Yeah, because you were telling me you didn't celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, which
It
I
was
actually think I'm
November.
gonna do this year. I think I might celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh, y'all are awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. You're awesome. All right, I'm
Yeah,
going to bed.
so thanks, Jones. We are gonna raid Tommy tonight. Uh, thank you. I appreciate everyone being so concerned about my health.
Yeah, I was about
I
to say, are you look okay? Do you need me to send you something? You want me to Amazon you something?
No, you're good. Thank you.
You sure? Hey, listen, I mean, I know you live out in the middle of nowhere, but do y'all have a pho restaurant?
Have a what? Oh yeah, we actually have 3.
Do I still go live on my own account? Yes, I still go. I mean, I will, guys. I promise I will. I will at some point. You do have a pho restaurant? Yeah, go get you
Yeah,
some
we
pho
have 3.
tomorrow. Go get you some pho tomorrow. I promise it'll make you
Okay.
feel better.
Okay, I will. I
Put all
will.
the
I'll
stuffs in
take
it
a
too.
picture and send it to you.
All right, guys. Love you
We are
much.
going to raid my friend Tommy's live. So Tommy's username is my_dude. Dude is DOODE. I'm going to just reply to someone so I can put it in the comments, which I feel like one of my mods is going to beat me. You bitches, I'm going to win. Ha ha ha, I win. So yeah, thank you again, everyone, for liking, for doing things that just left my brain. I appreciate all of you. Again, this is my backup account. If you did like today's stream, you can follow my main account. The only reason I'm on here is because I'm banned, because I was a naughty girl. But I will be live tomorrow as well as Sunday. So yeah, please follow me so you can watch more content tomorrow. And I'm going to go ahead and log off. So let's head over to Tommy's live and do a raid. Thank y'all. Again, the ad is my_dude. Dude is DOODE. It's in the comments. How do you feel about watching this live? Positive, negative, or neutral? TikTok, what are you doing?